Well, here we go. I finally channeled my inner LS Mark and ranked every single BFDI episode. With the help of some friends, we ranked every single episode from Season 1 to Season 5. If you don't know what BFDI is, Battle for Dream Island is a web show that was started in 2010 by brothers Michael and Carrie Huang. The premise of the show is similar to other shows before it, like Total Drama Island and Survivor. The show involves objects, competing for the grand prize, Dream Island. Each episode, one contestant gets eliminated until the winner is decided. A challenge is done every episode to determine which team or contestants gets put up for elimination, in which the viewers get to decide who gets the chopping block. The show has been running for 14 years and is now in its 5th season, Battle for Dream Island: The Power of Two. I recall finding this show right when the 10th episode of the 4th season came out. From then on, I was hooked. I showed this show to everyone I knew, trying to get them to become BFDI fans. And so today, it's only fitting that I review every episode of this show and rewatch old classics I've forgotten, or catch up on the newer episodes that I also have forgotten. Oops. From what I remember, the whole show is pretty good except for some minor setbacks, so I'm ready to jump right into this. We're going to begin with Season 1, Episode 1A, which is... Yeah, we are jumping straight into this, and it's super rough. Of course, that's understandable considering Michael and Carrie were around 12 when they started this, so it's bound to look a bit bad. We're introduced to the 20 main contestants competing for the grand prize, Dream Island. Each episode they do a challenge, and one of them is kicked off until one is left. This episode is basically the introduction to all of the characters and their quirks. There's some iconic lines here and there, but overall it's just, the first episode, so it most likely will end up going near the bottom of the list, just because of the sheer quality of it all.
Only one of us can win. Pin, wrong finger. Whoops, haha.
The challenge is also kind of boring. Again, it's iconic, but a bunch of things just kind of happen for no reason, like Pin licking flour. In the overall list, it definitely won't be the worst one. There are some way worse ones coming up. Even then, it's still a pretty alright episode in the grand scheme of things, and essential to the development of the show and the object show community as a whole. Interestingly enough, this and the last one were part of the same episode, but the last one was 1A and this one's 1B. They do these sometime in the series, like the BFDIA 5 saga, which we'll get to, but it's strange that this was the only one that was just 2 parts only. Anyways, here we see the winners of the last challenge, Leafy and Pin. Pick 9 members each to form their new teams for the game, Squashy Grapes and the Squishy Cherries. Their first real challenge is to build a boat and sail it across the YOYLECAKE Canal to break the ribbon at the end. This episode is slightly better than the last one in my opinion. There are some more iconic lines and the animation is already getting better, which is always nice to see. Don't have much to say here, although I liked Corny Icy and Leafy's little adventure.
Huh?
Yeah, stay there, we need a plug.
Welcome to the first full episode. In this episode, we see the mean and evil flower get killed and die. Their challenge is to complete this Roblox obby to win the paps at the end. This challenge was pretty fun, and there were some pretty good moments too.
Alliance, Schmalliance. Go!
Top of the list for sure. This episode also introduces a lot of iconic things that will stick around later throughout the series, like the ads and Blocky's funny doings. Eliminated this episode is Spongy, which I'd like to mention has been constantly bullied throughout the entire show so far. What has bro done? Anyways, in this episode we see the contestants take a test and almost everybody fails. Blocky and Pen cheat to win, which makes their team up for elimination.
I just learned 2 things about Bubble. She can be suicidal.
This one was fine. Still some pretty good moments though, like Pencil's doodle and Blocky just murdering Ice Cube over and over, above the last one. Dude, I love Sweet Tooth. It may be because I'm a sucker for food-themed challenges and object shows, but I still love this episode regardless. Blocky gets eliminated because of the previous incident, and because announcer can't get any good cake, the challenge is to make some new cake.
Baking cakes without recipes is almost as bad as making a cake out of 2 metal
elephant green screen effect.
From here, the standard things happen, firing, corny bickering, alliance troubles, Needle's cake becoming so large that it joins a planetary system with Earth and the Moon. Standard. This episode is also really funny, like the magical dot and the racer and pen using corny as currency. Wait, isn't that top of the list for sure? It's probably going to be in the top 5 of the season when we're done. Bridge crossing begins with Needle's cake being so large that it undergoes nuclear fusion and causes a windstorm. I forgot to mention, but this is where Needle starts doing the "don't call me needy" thing way more often. Woody is eliminated, and we finally get to see where the contestants go when they get eliminated. The tiny loser chamber. The contestants have to cross a bridge, but when it kind of just falls apart, they have to rip a necktie. Forgot to mention that was in the last episode too. This episode is pretty forgettable, going above Take the Plunge Part 2. Never mind, Power of 3 is going to be in the top 5. Every part of this episode is incredible, from the challenge to the little teams, and even gives us the iconic snowball line. All of the teams work here, and I like how the last place team ended up getting first. Also, I like how they just lock Pencil in the safe and don't notice it until they're halfway to the end. Great episode, check it out if you haven't. Puzzling Mysteries is kind of a weird point in the season where there's no voting at the end of the episode. The reason for this is Spongy being too big for the TLC. Why are we still doing this? Spongy's eliminated. Stop bullying him! So Announcer's solution is to kind of just not eliminate anyone. Something cool I want to mention though is the deleted scene in this episode where Blocky and Woody were supposed to rejoin. Anyways, they do a jigsaw puzzle and it's boring. The squishy chairs are unbelievably stupid in this episode. One of the most forgettable episodes of the series. Also, Needle gets eliminated because, yeah. Cycle of Life begins with nobody getting eliminated, so the puzzles were literally for nothing. Anyway, here we see the teams doing a relay race where the winning team gets to have an eliminated contestant to rejoin on their team. It has some pretty good moments like Blocky's Ice Cube prank.
Ice Cube. Melting your kills are right. Okay, good.
And I like how the Bubble Recovery Center is just like miles away. Like, why were they that far away? This episode is pretty short because we needed that 3 extra minutes for the epic Ice Cube death montage. Not much else to say above the last. In the last episode, voting was held for which eliminated contestant would rejoin, and the voters decided on bringing Blocky back. Anyways, because the Squashy Grapes are too big, they are now split into 2 teams. The Squashy Grapes and another name.
These team names are so stupid.
Anyways, they do a 3-legged race challenge, and the Squashy Grapes lose, so one of their members gets to be on the cherries and another gets eliminated. One thing I gotta mention though is the new assets. They look amazing, and the animation is already so much better in just 9 episodes. Also, look how much they wanted Ice Cube to be eliminated. She's literally the biggest icon on this screen. Okay, so Crybaby is kind of split for me because on one hand, I think the challenge is really funny, and on the other hand, I'm still mad they eliminated Teardrop. Okay, so let's talk about the Teardrop thing first. So Teardrop and Snowball were chosen to leave the team, and so the cherries had to pick. Bubble and Match both picked to eliminate Snowball, and Pen and Eraser wanted to eliminate Teardrop. So it was all down to Pencil. You'd think that Pencil would go for eliminating Snowball because of all the previous stuff she had said about him, and also the rest of her alliance picked him. But
well, Snowball won contests 4 and 5, so I picked him.
Teardrop, it's time to say goodbye.
Contests 4 and 5 were the necktie ripping. Anyone could have done that. Why? Why did you do that? Anyway, so it just so happens that the next contest is a crying contest, and I made a cringy YouTube comment about it. The challenges here are really funny though, I can't lie. My favorite has to be the Snowball one. Even though Teardrop got eliminated for basically no reason, I still like this episode regardless, under Power of 3. Did you know Lofty is the shortest episode of the show? This episode clocks in at just under 6 minutes. Despite this, I still think this episode is really good. The balloon challenge is enjoyable, and I like how Bommy is just randomly here sometimes.
Elephant green screen effect.
And this episode even gives us this amazing scene that will come back in future episodes. And the less we talk about the pen scene, the better. Overall, this episode is pretty good and funny, above Sweet Tooth. episode 12 marks the halfway point for the season, with Tennis Ball and Courtney leaving another name, just leaving Fiery there to die. Announcer decides that it's time for the merge! The challenge is to climb the ladder, and the announcer is ableist to Tennis Ball. Oh yeah, this is where they really want Tennis Ball out too. Also, non-existent! The point system is cool. I wish more object shows used this concept. Not much goes on this episode, but I like it nonetheless, above the last one. Yeah.
Fiery,
Yeah?
I suggest you don't go around setting people you don't know on fire.
Happy birthday, BFDI! This episode is pretty significant because it's the first time that recommended characters were introduced, besides the ending of episode 12. But what's funny is they're placed very close to contestants, both think he on the team. Anyway, we say goodbye to Snowball, and the challenge is to find some balls.
What do you mean by that?
The main joke here is that the contestants keep finding maroon balls instead of red balls. It can be funny at times, like the ball hanging from the sky, and
All I have is an apple!
overall pretty short but enjoyable nonetheless. Below lofty. BFDI 14 is truly one of the best BFDI episodes ever. Not only is it hilarious, but it has a really cool rejoin challenge. But, wait, is that... Spongy! Go away! Spongy! Another thing that's really funny about this episode is the real challenge with the hurdles. It gets absolutely insane, and it's really funny.
That's enough, Bubble.
Half a loaf is better than none is going at the top of the list. Truly amazing. And this is the best of the season. I'm sorry, but this episode is just spectacular. Eraser gets eliminated, which is sad, but he was put against Fire and Leafy and Ice Cube, so... But what really makes this episode for me are both of the challenges. Both of them are really good. I especially like the barf bag because every line when they're in there hits. This has to be my favorite though.
Bubble, let's make ice cream. Cone, ice, flavoring, whipped cream, and voila! Taste it! Yuck, this tastes absolutely terrible. This is garbage.
The taco contest is kind of a repeat of Sweet Tooth, but I liked that episode, so it works. And I like how the tacos are fed through a tube to the TLC. You cannot change my mind. Best of the season and one of the best in the whole show.
This is an announcement. Due to budget cuts, this episode will be using puppets instead of being animated.
Bowling But Now with Explosions is a pretty monumental episode in the series because it begins with puppets. It was an April Fool's episode if you didn't know. I like the designs a lot. The episode begins with Penn getting eliminated. I wonder why. Anyways, the contestants do some bowling and everybody sucks. Something interesting that happens though is that for every pin you knock down, you get to take away 30 points from anyone. Pencil and Leafy are fair enough, and then Blocky and Fiery just...
Okay, let's see. Let's drain away all of Bubble's points.
Well, Ice Cube's like my opposite, so she should lose 100 points or so.
Also, Yellowface ad, hooray! These headphones are cool, but I doubt they would ever come back. That would just be stupid. I like this episode well enough. Above Crybaby. BFDI 17 was the first ever BFDI episode I ever watched. It kinda just came up on my recommended and I just went, sure. Moments later, I was trapped in the Object Show community dungeon and I never escaped. Anyways, I like the elimination a lot in this episode because of all the characters being up for elimination. And Blocky gets the boot because of the previous incident. And the challenge is to throw frisbees.
Yay!
This episode is also just hilarious. My favorite parts are both with Leafy and Ice Cube. Here they are.
Yay! Ice Cube! Now get to the other side. And catch this frisbee!
Ice Cube and Leafy. You received a penalty.
Oh, let's see what it is.
Also remember recommended characters? Yeah? Well, one of them is gonna join the game. Cool. Guess we'll have to see who gets in. Below half a loaf is better than none. God, that's a long title. I remember back when I first got into the series that I really liked Reveal Novum. Now that I've rewatched it, what do I think? Well, it's alright. While rewatching, I came to the sad realization that the only good things about this episode are the debut scene and the contestants trying to escape the TLC. And that's not even really focused on all that much. Also, remember how I got mad at Pencil eliminating Teardrop? Well, let's go through what they did this time. So this is where the budget cuts joke really begins. And so first the scoreboard is replaced with this ugly looking thing that can only hold 2-digit numbers. Pencil ends up winning the staring contest challenge and getting 60 points. But I'm speechless. This is so dumb. I don't know. Below crybaby. That's gonna be me soon. A crybaby. I'm crying while editing this. This is me. Remember how I said Spongy was getting bullied? Well, let's see what happens to Pencil in the first 2 minutes of the episode. So first, she gets sat on by Spongy, gets barfed on by Rocky, and gets humiliated in front of everybody while getting eliminated. Keep in mind, she literally won the last challenge. But on the topic of stupid eliminations, I guess we'll talk about Tennis Ball last episode. Throughout the entirety of the points era, Tennis Ball was up for elimination a lot. It seemed like Michael and Carrie just had a grudge on TB, so that's why he was up for elimination so much. But it never worked, the voters just liked TB too much. So Michael and Carrie eliminated TB themselves in a contestant vote. It was a tie between Leafy and Tennis Ball, and the challenge was to, quote, jump the ledge. TB jumps, gets eliminated. Leafy doesn't jump, gets to stay. Why? How could you do this to Tennis Ball? Look at him. He's so precious. How could you do this? How could you do this? Anyways, in this episode, the points are gone. We are free from them. No, okay, I'll stop. The contestants are now competing in each challenge for individual immunity. And it's a unicycle race. I don't know. I didn't really pay attention. The funny part is this scene.
Ah, get away, before Bubble stabs us!
Also, Leafy and Bubble are seemingly having a bit of an argument, and it's really annoying. Leafy's just awful. I don't know. It's an okay episode if you ignore the pencil stuff. Below BFDI 16. BFDI 20 is awesome. Not only is the new space setting really cool, but I like the new Fiery and Leafy friendship. The music in this episode is really calm and nice, which fits the space setting. But who cares about that? The humor is where this episode is at. Here are some of my personal favorite scenes.
Oh no, what happened to the Big Dipper? And why are Bubble and Ice Cube playing catch?
Hey, where's the drum roll?
It was too annoying.
Then I'll make my own.
Why are you excluding me? I just want to be friends.
Sorry, only good people get to be friends.
Oh, burn.
Ah!
Hey, where'd it go?
We had to sell it because of budget cuts.
Weird. Hey, where'd my spaceship go?
Same thing.
Oh, well, I still have mine.
Bubble, as another reward, you get to choose another person to also have immunity.
Oh, okay. Give it to Leafy to prove to her that I'm a nice person after all.
Also, I like all of the contestants' rejoin screens. Not much else to say except this is a really solid episode and definitely up on my overall season ranking as a whole. Can't wait to see where they go now with this new space setting. With the contestants being in space, there are limitless possibilities. I mean, there's so many cool ideas. And they're back on Goiki. Cool. The eliminated contestants have to pick one of the contestants still in to eliminate. The contestants go up and they pick. And it's all going fine until...
I choose Ice Cube because it gets really hot in the TLC and I need help cooling it down.
Oh my gosh, yeah. Ice Cube would, like, cool things down a ton.
No comment. Anyways, it's time for the last rejoin, and we get an amazing new Cake and Steak song.
Season coming to an end. Very few contestants left.
But anyways, I wonder who's gonna rejoin. Well, it's not Tennis Ball. Sad. It's not Pencil. Sad. Wait, Teardrop? No, wait, Teardrop! No way the voters wouldn't vote Teardrop back in, like, come on.
And Flower rejoins.
Yeah, high five, Teardrop.
I think this is the end. Goodbye. Also, the real challenge is too short and boring. Oh no, I like the rejoin scene that had some cool animation. Above BFDI 16. Thankfully, that's the last unfair elimination of the season. About time. Don't Pierce My Flesh is a great episode and will definitely end up in the top 5 of the season. This episode has so many great quantities, like my goat Spongy killing the announcer, good riddance, and him being replaced with Fiery and Flower Speaker Box. Both of these guys are so cool, and I wish we got to see more of Flower Speaker Box. I love you.
Fall into lava, magma, and die! We have to start all over again!
Anyways, the challenge this time is to escape the Roblox obby, but volcano. Nothing much happens in this episode, but I love the visuals of the volcano near the end and the animation. Just goes to show you don't need thrills to make a feast for the eye. Not much else to say. Great episode. Great to have more of those. Before we begin, let's get everything I hate about this episode out of the way first.
Please, be quiet and leave me alone.
Hey guys, I'm back, Spongy. With a record of 432 votes, you've been eliminated again.
Okay, now that that's over with, let's talk about everything I like. The speaker boxes are funny, I like the cheese orb. The final challenge is a combination of all the previous challenges, so we get to revisit challenges like the boats,
Why, hello.
the test, the cakes, and the bridge. Looking back, this episode isn't very good, but I like some of the jokes like Bubble entering creative mode. Also, this is stupid but funny. Below the last one because the animation can get really good at times. Let's get this over with. BFDI 24, in my opinion, is one of the worst episodes of the season. It definitely has some good jokes, like Purple Face, but, well, let me just take you through the episode. So this episode begins with Fiery killing Leafy. Remember this scene. Announcer selling all of the recovery centers because of budget cuts. Announcer then saying if the number of votes go down again, then BFDI will be cancelled. So we get this huge reveal, but we just have a bunch of ads to fill up time. When it's revealed that this episode did not get the amount of votes needed, announcer says BFDI is cancelled. Remember this scene. Flower then throws bug eggs at announcer, so now they're all getting chased by bugs. Hooray, I love filler! The contestants are all dead, so announcer does the only logical thing. Create everyone again with Davids. And if you thought David couldn't get more annoying, well...
There are 3 slices of cake.
Oh, seriously?
3 contestants are safe and will get cake.
Oh, seriously?
1 contestant will be eliminated.
Oh, seriously?
It is then just randomly revealed that they all didn't die, and that they faked their deaths, which... No! We clearly saw them all die! How the hell did they fake their deaths? Flower is revealed to be eliminated, and we have a long montage scene showing every elimination from Flower to Flower. It's kinda cool, I guess, but then Flower just blocks the laser, and I don't know, this episode's just so bad. Flower is eliminated, and then we get to vote for who wins the show. Jesus Christ, this episode is awful. Like I said, it's not completely devoid of good jokes, all of the ads are pretty funny, but just filler after filler after filler. Why does this have to be 11 goddamn minutes? I don't know anymore. How about Cycle of Life? Let's hope the finale is a bit better. You have no idea how excited I am for this season to be over. I've been editing this for like 6 days. Here's an actual image of my timeline. Send help. Yeah, this finale sucks. First we have Flower eating announcer for some reason, which makes him unable to pronounce the k sound. This gets really annoying very fast.
At one cashew.
Bless you!
No, I said cashew.
Whoa, you must be allergic to something.
Cashew, cashew, cashew.
The contestants pick who should win, but it doesn't matter anyways. Fire wins the season, woohoo! So Fire gets the grand prize, Dream Island, and lets everybody in. Even Flower, even Corny, and even my goat Spongy. But when he gets to Leafy, well, remember how I told you to remember this scene?
Get me out of this thing!
That really hurt me, deep down inside.
You'd better be joking, Fiery.
Leafy, you don't understand. That Ferris wheel, I made it for myself, but more importantly, I made it for you, and you just rejected it.
Yeah, so because Leafy didn't like Fiery's Ferris wheel because she was about to get burned alive, Fiery decides to make her the only person locked out of Dream Island. Leafy very understandably then decides to steal Dream Island. I mean, who wouldn't after that? It adds some cool tension, but it's still dumb how the whole island just disappears. We have some more filler, with some contestants being abducted by a UFO, and Flower destroying all of the recovery centers.
Here goes that last and most important recovery center.
Forgot to mention that announcer used Fiery's life savings to pay for new recovery centers. This means that if someone dies, they're done, which is a cool detail to add because it makes death all the more threatening, and foreshadows a future event. Bubble gets popped by Flower, Flower gets crushed by the UFO, Woody dies in the UFO of the fear of the color gray. But guess where Woody was almost the entire show? The tiny loser chamber. And what is it? Gray. Anyway, so those guys are dead forever. The contestants speculate that Leafy stole Dream Island, and so they plan to publicly execute Leafy. Just then, the hang glider from episode 1A comes back, and Fire and Leafy have a 20-second apology, and it's not satisfying at all. Overall, BFDI 25 is a terrible finale for a great season. It sucks that BFDI had to end like this. Episodes 13 to 17 were amazing. However, still not the worst of the season. Above the last one, just because this one had less filler, and I like the dramatic tone a lot.
Hey, Matt, wouldn't it be weird if the very first and very last spoken words of
The season review.
were the same?
Yeah.
Overall, what a solid first season. It really set the foundation for object shows as a concept in just 2 years. The fact that each episode was exactly a month from each other is just baffling. The beginning of the season started out kind of slow, but Michael and Carrie quickly found their groove. Episodes 13 to 17 and even 20 or 22 are still some of the best the series have to offer. Now, Season 2 already changes things a lot. For starters, the first 5 episodes were made in 2012 to 2013, and then the show was silently cancelled. Until it got brought back exactly a decade later, and now the season is still continuing to this day. But it will be interesting to see how Battle for Dream Island again evolves from the first season. Welcome to the second season that began in August of 2012. In this new season, we see a bunch of old faces, and some new ones too, like Ruby, Donut, Gelatin, Fries, Bommy, and Book. We begin right where BFDI 25 left off, with everyone chasing Leafy. If you don't know why this happened, just be patient, it'll be explained later. Leafy uses the magic of the Nick Jr. Show Blue's Clues to teleport away to Yo-Yo Land. Just then, the voting for the second season was shown, and I'm not going to get into this because it's a mess and a half. This episode, like the first episode of the first season, is iconic. However, it is mainly just, once again, setting up the new characters and their identities. It's definitely better than the first episode of the last season, because the animation is still really, really good.
Rule 2. Eliminated contestants must be killed. Wait, what?
One major rule that switches up the season this time, though, is that you can leave, switch, or even create teams. With all this in mind, everyone switches to one team and leaves Donut on his own team to die. We get a goofy screen montage, and then Corny and Pin also switch. Finally, the episode closes with a very fair tug-of-war contest and a very fair elimination. Overall, a solid first episode. Still not as great as the other BFDIA episodes to come later, though, but it sets the groundwork very well. I approve. We begin with the new team of Donut, Corny, and Pin coming up with a new name for their team, and for some reason, Donut doesn't want to. They decide on We'll Ooze a whole bunch, or just Wo bunch. Very underrated joke, by the way. Anyways, we have 40 quintillion contestants for some reason, and Donut gets eliminated. I wonder why. The new elimination system is cool. You use YouTube's dislikes and likes to vote, and the most liked get a prize. In this case, Corny gets the prize and gets some seeds. The challenge this time is to make yo-yo berries. The challenge this time is to make. The challenge this time is to make Yo-Yo Berry stew, and we get introduced to the main villain of the season, Evil Leafy. She has the ability to teleport and possess bodies, so of course she goes for my goat Spongy.
That's a relief. Now that the bridge is broken, Evil Leafy can't cross. We should be
This episode also has some cool alliance stuff while they dump toxic chemicals into their stew, killing TV. Overall, very good and funny episode, above BFDIA 1. Also, unrelated, but after I finished watching BFDI 17 for the first time, I clicked on Get Digging, skipped to the end, and I thought that the world got struck by meteors. BFDIA 3 begins with 40 quintillion characters again, and then we have my second favorite elimination of the season. However, this episode is just alright. There really isn't anything to talk about other than the elimination. There are some cool alliance arcs and bubbles brought back to life, but it's just kinda boring. There are some good moments though, like again the whole alliance stuff, the challenge is kinda cool, but it's just an alright episode overall. Below the last one. Also, one of the reasons of why this episode seems so boring and lifeless is because there's only 2 music tracks in the whole episode. The intro, and the sound that plays when Teardrop is poisoned. It's just okay. Okay, before we begin, we gotta talk about this animation. It's just amazing. It's crazy how much we've improved in just 4 episodes. Also, the Eiffel Tower is in Goiki. Funny how that's just never explained. Anyways, I like this episode's elimination. It's very good.
No, stop! What are you doing? What are you doing? What are you doing? You're doing anything but... No! Oh my god! No!
Even ignoring that, this episode's great. I love all of the animation that's said before, and the challenge is really cool too. Puffball's speaker box reaction to Wo Bunch's Dream Island always gets me.
Wo Bunch, your dream island is awful. I hate farms.
Also, Golf Ball's whole underground factory is a cool new setting. Not much to say except I love this episode and always will. Top of the list. BFDIA 5A marks the beginning of the, well, BFDIA 5 saga. The challenge was super monumental, so they made it into 4 episodes. The first one of which is BFDIA 5A. We begin with some more alliance stuff involving Bubble, Pin, Ice Cube, and Book, and then Match kills Book and Ice Cube. Oh yeah, also Leafy is alive and returns to Goiki, where she gets fed an onion and gets murdered. Pin stabs the Puffball speaker box, and then we get my favorite elimination of the season. There's so much packed into this elimination, from the graphs to the tension it builds, and even some viewer comments. Seriously, why aren't future eliminations as impactful as this one? Match is eliminated, but not really. Some more team switching happens, and then Pencil, Match, Bubble, Ice Cube, Ruby, and Book. Leaf Team Gnome Name, that's what it's called, by the way. To create Free Smart. The challenge this time is to get to the top of Yo-Yo Mountain.
Oh no, a canyon! What do we do?
If we quickly build a trebuchet, we might be able to...
Also, part of why I like this episode so much might be because of the Sakura reanimated video. It's genuinely one of the funniest videos I've ever seen. But anyways, a great introduction to this BFDIA 5 saga. Below Zeke Boogie Doog. So, this is an interesting one. Remember how in the last episode Free Smart was eaten by Evil Leafy? Well, Michael and Kara decided to turn BFDIA 5B into a game. The game involves you playing as Book, and you discover Match and Ice Cube later, to traverse through Evil Leafy and solve all the puzzles and complete the complicated levels, eventually finding all the Free Smart members. Obviously, I won't be ranking this, but I do want to say that it's a really well done game. The puzzles are all interesting and creative, and not to mention that this game can get hard. I personally have only gotten to level 7, but there are 52 levels. When you get to level 53, it's Carrie saying that there will be more levels soon. There weren't. Overall, BFDIA 5B is interesting and a fun game to play. I'll leave a link in the description if you want to go check it out. I recommend it. BFDIA 5C picks up right after, presumably, the end of BFDIA 5B, where FreeSmart escaped. We have Pencil bullying Ruby, and then Pencil gets killed. Ruby and Book manage to escape the button hell, but they are still being chased. They cut a rope which drops a very heavy object onto Evil Leafy, killing her and everyone inside, and also the hand-powered recovery center. Back to Wobunch, they fall into the canyon from the first 2 episodes, and Spongy and Needle get brutally murdered. Finally, this episode ends with everyone cranking the hand-powered recovery center creator to make a new hand-powered recovery center. This episode is the shortest of the BFDIA 5 saga, and in my opinion, probably the worst one. Still, it has some good moments like the ending, above BFDIA 3. Okay, so BFDIA 5D is very similar to 5C in that it's just them on their journey still, but a lot more happens. We cut back to the contestants cranking, and Matches being a jerk. Cut to 78 days later and the HPRC is finished. However, the whole forest explodes. The contestants are recovered and FreeSmart gets in their new super van. The van is a really cool new setting, I love all the bright lights. Wobunch then has the dumbest idea ever to threaten Puffball to fly them to Yoyoland. This doesn't go well.
Pin, you're a genius! Pointy genius, but definitely a genius.
Anyways, FreeSmart realizes they forgot the recovery center, so they go back. Anyways, FreeSmart realizes that they forgot the HPRC, so they make a giant FreeSmart realizes that they lost the HPRC, so they use their giant magnet to steal it from Evil Forest. And what causes the main event of this episode to occur is Pencil correcting Gelatin for saying that it's in fact a super van and not a normal van. And so this causes every member of FreeSmart to die because of the stupid hole in the van. And so we have this huge montage of just everyone dead. It's pretty funny. Going above BFDIA 5C, let's hope the finale is very good. Welcome to the final pre-hiatus BFDIA episode. We begin with Corny and Nickel being pushed together against their will, and then there's a lot of money. Team No Name is still flying, but Puffy took a wrong turn and now they're in Davidland. This will be explained more in the future. FreeSmart arrives in Yoyo City, and it's just, wow. It looks incredible. Throughout BFDIA so far, we've had these cool 3D scenes, but I think this is the best one. The music really helps it give that epic feel. Also, the building names are funny. There's so much I can say about this city, but it'll be explored a lot more in future episodes. Also, there's this.
I couldn't freeze Leafy, and she was made of metal.
Oh, that's because she was made of Yoil metal. That stuff is unfreezable.
FreeSmart arrives at the bottom of Yoyo Mountain, and Ruby glues the HPRC to the ground forever. The glue came from their snowball fight earlier in the saga. Pencil is stuck in the same monster from Season 1, Episode 2, and then they decide to kill Pencil so they can bring her back. It's very eerie. And FreeSmart and No Name win the challenge. Overall, a good finale, and a great way to... Roblox obby time, hooray! This whole scene is really cool. Match and Bubble are finally caught by FSB, and so they get eliminated. L. When Team No Name finally arrive, they're just about to win, but then...
Puffball, every time your team has been up for voting, you've won the prize! Puffball, why'd you stop? We're so close. We have a 99.4% chance of winning. What are you doing? If our team loses, we'll be up for voting. And I'll win the prize like I always do. I really love prizes. That's the most insane thing I've ever...
This scene was also really dramatic and cool. Anyways, Wobunch wins. In short, BFDIA 5E was a very good finale and a good send-off to this BFDIA 5 little movie, and also pre-hiatus BFDIA as a whole. Like I said at the end of the Season 1 ranking, for 10 years we thought BFDIA was over, because of all these other seasons were started, like IDFB, BFB, and TPOT. And because all of the characters got their new personalities, it would be a mistake to bring the season back with all of these newer fans. but they did it anyways, and I'm still mixed on if it was a good idea or not, but let's just jump into the new BFDIA starting in 2023 with... Okay, so we have a lot to talk about here, so I'm just gonna say it now. If you didn't know, BFDIA 6 was supposed to release in September of 2013, but due to lots of other details, including Jack and Jellyfee getting demonetized, school and college, and many more issues, BFDIA was just never continued. With this in mind, IDFB was started, and we'll get to that later. After that, battle for BFDI was started, and so was the Power of 2, so everyone thought BFDIA 6 was as good as dead. Until this mysterious teaser dropped on August 31st of 2023. Because of the Yoyo City background, the community, myself included, thought this was going to be IDFB 2. But lo and behold, it was the mystical BFDIA 6. If you watch these in the canonical timeline, you'll notice a big difference from BFDIA 5e and BFDIA 6. There's now a whole team of animators, audio editors, background designers, writers, when it used to just be Michael and Carrie. Let's talk about the actual episode now. We open with everyone still falling, and then they all die. Everyone's recovered, and then the elimination happens. Fiery wins the prize, he gets a meteor shield, and Puffball is eliminated because of the previous incident. Rocky then switches to Wobunch, and then the cast decides to stay in Yoyo City permanently. The challenge this time is to find a place to sleep in since they are Yoyo City residents now. We get a revamp of the yellow face ad from BFDI 16 and a needle puts a headphone set on one member on each team. Back to Team No Name, they find a non-suspicious hotel and there doesn't seem to be anything wrong. Yeah, so they're getting chased by Evil Leafy now. Anyways, Wobunch finds a cloud in their building, so they stick a pipe in it, which makes the Free Smart van crash into it.
Well, that's good news for us. It is, which means we should be safe in here as long as Gelatin doesn't.
Ow.
Wobunch and Free Smart have a crazy battle until Wobunch tries to scare Free Smart with Evil Leafy and Bro actually shows up to the party. Then Ice Cube uses balloons and somehow managed to completely rewire her headphones to play this goofy song. Anyways, that was BFDIA 6. And Jesus, it's a lot, but it's probably one of the best episodes of the season and the series as a whole. I highly recommend you should watch it. At least BFDIA can now rest in peace. So they kept it going. Let's begin with the timeline being just ruined. Here's just one example.
We got 59,817 votes. That's the most ever!
That's the most ever! That's the most ever!
We get introduced to this guy named Lewis, who is kind of like a weirder David, and they get tired of TV's crap, so they eliminate him. Not before he takes the key to the locker of losers.
Now that we're rich, you must be able to produce a nicer kick-ass thing song, right? But let's hear it!
Rocky is eliminated, and because Free Smart is still floating in the air, they miss the contest wheel spinning. Ruby ends up finding this weird space rock, which turns out to be the rare material of Yoyolite, which Tennis Ball has apparently always wanted. So he sends Fiery and Gelatin to Free Smart to get the Yoyolite. While Gelatin and Fiery are on Free Smart, they end up feeling very mischievous, and so they troll Free Smart by never letting them know what the real challenge is, causing them to lose. The challenge, by the way, is making a new loser chamber because TV took the key, remember? I don't know about you guys, but this episode seems to be taking on a new style of writing where there are a bunch of jokes that seem to generate lots and lots of videos about the episode. Here are just a few examples.
Hi. How's it going? Hey there.
I'm in your walls.
Let's see how many votes we receive. If only it were 128 lower.
These jokes are funny, but I don't know, it does seem like it caters more to that YouTube engagement type thing. I'd love to hear what you guys think though, under BFDIA 5e. BFDIA 8 is, you know, bring that music back. Let's get into this. We begin with a stupid Lewis intro, and then here comes my main irk of this episode. Ruby says to Fiery Speaker Box that she wants to go back to the Clubhouse of Awesomeness, and we have this 10-second scene of Free Smart going from Yoyoland to Goiki. And what makes me mad is this just completely renders the entirety of BFDIA 5 pointless. Why? Why would you just undermine this whole journey for a 10-second gag? Smart does the elimination in the Clubhouse of Awesomeness, and Justice finally catches up to Fiery, and he gets eliminated. And Fiery's speaker box goes into clinical depression after losing Fiery, so we bring back Puffball's speaker box. Yay! 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 The challenge this time is to paint the Eiffel Tower. I forgot to mention last episode, but they brought the thing back with Yellowface being racist in BFDI 24. And so Yellowface just hates anything purple now, and Bommy is just so conveniently purple now. Anyways, Gelatin's Steakhouse is now apparently trying to rebrand as Gelatin's Shade House for some reason. Smart and team name have an all-out laser paint something brawl. Corny visits this new establishment and meets this guy named Barbecue Sauce, and he has a banger song. Skipping ahead because stuff isn't important except for Corny being stuffed in the cash register, Ice Cube and Book have this cool scene where they make the Eiffel Tower pink. It's very cool. So they're guaranteed first, but then...
Hey, Puffball speaker box, want to wear these trendy new sunnies?
Sure. Wow, I look so fashionable. Anyway, the team in second place is, well, let's take another look at what we've got. Okay, I see a whole ton of pink, a little bit of green, but I see no purple at all. Which means Team No Name gets second place. But whoa, Bunch, what happened? You didn't get a single drop of purple paint on the tower. Pathetic.
Okay, so there could have been a way better way to make Whoa Bunch lose, but this? Really? I don't know. This episode's a wreck. Definitely not the worst episode of the season, but the worst episode of this 2023 era, going below the last. Let's hope the next episodes are a bit better. Before we even start, we have this BFDI birthday celebration. There's always one every year BFDI turns a certain age, but this one for some reason has 14. 14 has only appeared in non-canon BFDI shorts. Why is this his first canon introduction? If you watch this in order, you'd have no idea who this is. Why is it 14? Hell, you don't even know who 4 and X are yet. I don't know anymore. Anyways, Ruby throws up, which is for some reason corrosive, which causes the whole Eiffel Tower to corrode and get destroyed. Not before Woe Bunch has their elimination first. I guess this is a good time as ever to talk about meta voting. If you don't know what meta voting is, it's basically viewers voting out a character for something they haven't canonically done yet. For example, Pencil was made in BFB 1, Voter in BFDIA 7, which doesn't seem fair because in the canon timeline, what you say they've done hasn't even happened yet. That's the issue I have with this new BFDI, it just messes up so many things already established. Yellowface is eliminated, and Purpleface is back from BFDI 24, and Yellowface puts him in a rather small box. Yellowface gets burned alive, and it's very morbid.
Look! Let me out! It's so painful!
Also, if you saw by this episode's title card, they are now officially back in Goiki, which is upsetting, because Yo-Yo City had so much unexplored potential. But whatever. Thankfully, after this point, this episode becomes really good. The challenge is really fun and creative, at least more creative than...
My shoes are on the roof. Get 'em.
The challenge this time is to do charades in a trash compactor before you die. If the contestants guesses your movement correctly, you live. However, this brings us to our next topic. These scenes. These scenes, to some, are hilarious and creative. All I could think when watching this episode ever is that these scenes look gross, vile, disgusting, and irritating. Don't you two? If you donate $5, you'll get a bumper sticker. But anyways, this episode's great. I love every scene of the animation, except for those. The poses are really well done. And how could I forget Object Groove Extreme? I love all the references in this little dance scene, and one of them even leads to something that'll happen later. Shh. There really isn't much to say. I recommend you should go watch this one. It's jam-packed of hilarious dialogue, funny scenes, and dramatic tones. Catch These Hands is going below BFDIA 6. We've got one more left. Here we go.
It's time for you to suffer the consequences of your actions. Look, I am severely disappointed in you.
Hey guys, I'm 15 now. Woo! BFDIA 10, as of writing, is the most current episode of BFDIA, being released right after I finished the Season 1 segment. Thankfully, unlike last season, the last episode of the season is very good. After the maniacal torture of last episode, we take the Goiki Highway back to Yo-Yo Land for the HPRC. Finally! We're so back. I love Yo-Yo City.
Let's go back Everyone get in the truck.
Anyways, Gelatin gets eliminated, and then here comes this scene.
I see. I have no idea what's going on, but it's getting us new alternates, so keep it coming!
Beautiful face team, here I come!
Me too!
Oh, I don't know if we should be doing this.
You know what I've said since the beginning. Pin, you should switch.
Fine.
A lot of people hate this scene because it ruins these already established teams for everyone to be on one team, except for Fries. But me personally, I don't see anything wrong with this. It's clearly just leading up to the inevitable merge, so I think it works here. There's also some controversy of Tennis Ball using his prize immediately to get Golf Ball to join the big team, but again, the merge is soon, so what could have you really done? The challenge is to make ice cream. Yes, more food challenges. Ooh, free food, gimme. We get introduced to this new character named Pineapple, who is voiced by the myth, the legend, Thomas Tom Ska Ridgewell. He made Astiff movie, and he was a character in Ed's World, and he volunteered for a character role in BFDIA 10 because of the dance scene in BFDIA 9, where it referenced this animation. Pineapple and BBQ sauce work off each other very well, I like them. Meanwhile, Fries has this unspoken ability just to make any contestant get digging, and it's really funny. Team and Gulpo have this cool thing where they jot down notes about the yo-yo light, and Pineapple triggers the fire alarm so they don't drown in the sea of people. Overall, a great end, for now, of BFDIA, going below BFDIA 6. God damn it, Jack and Jelfie. We were editing BFB 7 and then pow! New BFDIA. After I made that whole conclusion, we ended on a great note. Remember how I said the merge was soon? A lot of people hate this scene because it ruins these already established teams for everyone to be on one team, except for Fries. But me personally, I don't see anything wrong with this. It's clearly just leading up to the inevitable merge, so I think it works here. Yeah, they're back on 3 teams. Kill me. Spongy is eliminated, which makes me very sad. Also, remember how YouTube removed dislikes for some reason? Well, there's an extension that allows you to view dislikes again, which people made BFDIA prediction videos, and in every single one, it said the Ice Cube would be the next boot, until Carrot revealed the real results in his reaction, and saying that people thought it was rigged or other stupid stuff like that. But no, you can't just rely on a random YouTube extension to get your results. You gotta wait for the actual episode to release. Here's one of my main problems with this episode.
You can choose one contestant to lose their face.
I'll go for Pin.
What? Why me again?
Revenge!
So Pim was already suffering without her limbs, and now she's just an object. Like, this is genuinely horrifying. Pin can't do anything except breathe and sweat, and some other stuff. Ice Cube claims she did this because of the whole thing in 5A of Match's dance party. You deserve to lose your limbs in Teapot Icy. Oh yeah, Puffball's speaker box is dead. Can we stick to the same host for more than 3 episodes? So we have a new host, and it's Flower. Isn't she beautiful? My main problem with this episode is that it seems like they wanted to do so much, but didn't have enough time. This episode clocks in at around 20 minutes, and I think that if an extra 10 minutes were added on, then this episode could be a lot better. While some episodes are too boring, this one, in my opinion, is way too cluttered. They just kept adding and adding and adding until it kind of just stops. It's not bad though, definitely the worst post-hiatus BFDIA episode, but it's just B tier overall. Still kind of sucked we had to end with this one. I liked 10. I really gotta stop taking month break intervals between these reviews. BFDIA 12 is now the most recent BFDIA episode as of writing. Thankfully, unlike 11, this episode is really funny and definitely one of my favorites of the season. If you have noticed throughout the post-hiatus BFDIA, there have been a lot of guest voice actors, like Tomska, Zach from the Try Guys, Max Park, and Felix Zemdegs. This time, Jack and Jelfie somehow managed to get the actual Kevin MacLeod in the episode. Yeah, that Kevin MacLeod. The one who made literally all of these songs. These songs are so iconic, not only in BFDI, but on the internet itself. So I think it's so cool that Battle for Dream Island, of all things, managed to get a hold of him. He voice acts a pan flute in this episode who conducts one of his songs. So to continue with two trends, one being a host dying for no reason, now we have bugs. They are really scraping the bottom of the barrel here for these hosts now. I like the bug talking. Also, we have Pin, yet again, being stripped of herself, and here she is now literally a thumbtack. Please end this. Also, Ice Cube got eliminated in a very non-suspensional elimination. Today's challenge is to survive the bugs. Again. This time, though, the contestants aren't put in a rather small box. I really don't want to spoil too much because, like Catch These Hands, it's an episode that is definitely worth watching on your own. One thing I will say is that I was not expecting Ruby's sisters from ABCDEFG. It stands for that. Also, have I been saying his last name wrong for this long? I always thought it was Kevin MacLeod. This is not a good look for me. Under Taste the Sweetness. Wow, what a fantastic season. Even the worst ones of the season are still very good. I can't believe how good this season has gotten and how much we've evolved from season 1. Almost every single one here I recommend you should check out when you have the time. I recommend them. Also go play 5B the game. The first half of the season is definitely different from the second half in terms of how it's written, how it's animated, and a bunch of other stuff. But I do like both halves of the season, and I'm excited to see where BFDIA goes from here. I'll make sure to keep you guys updated. Now, Season 3 is weird, because it currently has one episode, so why did I give it its whole section? Well, even that one episode will be better than a majority of other episodes in this list so far, and to come in the future. It's also suspected that it will return someday, possibly after BFDIA closes production. We'll see. But anyways, let's get into it. Hey guys, I'm realizing now that these reviews have gotten very long, so I'm going to try to shorten this one down by not talking about plot details that are irrelevant, so yeah, here we go. Welcome to the first and only episode of the third season of BFDI, IDFB. In this season, there's no competition, no challenges, no teams, no elimination. It's just simply the contestants of Yo-Yo City living their lives. And I love it. It's so cool to see what these guys are doing when the competition isn't around, and all their little plot details in between. This episode came out on September 1st of 2016, meaning it was the first BFDI related thing we had for 3 years. The timeline isn't as nearly as messed up as you would think, as all of the contestants from the weak Trembling Fortress most likely escaped because 1, look at this thing, and 2, Yo-Yo City isn't that far away from where the WTF is. That's just my theory though. Also, the episode talks about BFDIA 6, which you think would mess it up, but specifically talking about their video diary watchers. Something that's still not explained is how Fiery got in that cage. Actually, there are a lot of these scenes in this episode that just beg for another episode to be made. That's why I think it'll continue when BFDIA finishes. Like I said before, they're almost at the merge. GB and TB go into this abandoned science museum and take the wall teleporter. The wall teleporter is able to take people out from behind walls, so they venture over to the locker of losers to try to figure out who to take out. When they can't decide, it's put up to the viewers to decide who to take out first, and that's the end. Overall, for being one episode, Welcome Back is probably one of the best episodes of the series. It has so much potential, and I'll talk about what I think could happen with the series at the end of the season ranking. But as it is now, it's very good. I think the non-competition style show works very well. It's just a nice little slice-of-life type show. Super excited to see where it goes from here if it ever continues.
Hey Fries, I bought some boiling frying oil so we can finally do some deep fried breaths.
Please tell me you're not actually doing this.
Okay, so we breathe and then we deep fry it. Ready?
I'm not participating.
1.
Gordon, just
2.
stop. Gordon,
3.
Stop. You're insane. Just stop.
I still think it's funny how this is the best episode so far, and it's the best season so far, even though it's only one episode. I'm going to talk about what I think could be done now if the season ever continues. See, the votes were cast for IDFB 2, and the contestant that was going to be taken out of the locker of losers was Match. What I think will happen is that each episode, a contestant gets taken out until everyone's in Yo-Yo City, and then maybe like they go back to Goiki for BFB, I don't know. Again, just another theory. We're back with the standard competition for the next season, and also that one is actually finished. But once again, something weird happens in this season, but we'll talk about that when we get there. Anyways, let's get into the first episode of the 4th season of BFDI, Battle for BFDI, or BFB. Hey guys, welcome to BFB! Right off the bat, you'll notice that something looks very different about this season compared to the previous ones. And that's with the fact that every single thing, from the faces to the limbs, are hand-drawn, which means they don't use the already pre-made assets like BFDI and BFDIA. Season 4 was originally going to be called Sloppy BFDI, and would have an episode around every week or so. Around BFB 13, the animation got really refined though, so that was quickly dropped. Anyways, remember when BFDI and BFDIA had casts of around 20 to 22? Yeah? Well, this one is 64! You might not recognize a lot of these new faces, but we've seen all of these guys before, besides these 4. These were all characters from the Locker of Losers that could have joined BFDIA. However, they did not make it in. So, they got a fresh coat of paint and brand new personalities. These 3, Lai, Foldy, and Stapy, were taken from this fake BFDI 25 video made over 12 years ago. Loser was from BFDI 7, where announcer was explaining how the new team system would work. He was shown there. BFB takes place presumably after IDFB, where all of the contestants are living their normal lives once again. When Flower finds a jar of cyanide that she can't open, she asks Black Hole to open it, and ends up destroying the entire world. Luckily, these guys named 4 and X show up to make everything back to normal. When they won't leave, the contestants decide to battle for their BFDI. They assemble into 8 new teams titled Ions, A Better Name Than That, Death Pact, Free Food, Saw, also known as Bleh, The Losers, Beep, and Team Ice Cube.
These team names are so stupid.
Their first challenge is to get a basket to X. There's some funny jokes here and there, like Blocky repeatedly killing members of his team, and Bleh following their basket through the world's largest oven. Ions is put up for elimination because their strategy sucked. Overall, even though BFDI and BFDIA's first episode were some of the weakest of their seasons, this one is already the best of the season, and the best one so far. In the first, 40 seconds of the episode, we're already at the BFB2 elimination. I don't know why, but I can pretty much recite this entire elimination word for word. Yes, I do have no life. How could you tell? After everyone is dead from last episode, like most of Bleh, 4 decides that the challenge is to lick a jawbreaker, which has a person inside. If you find someone inside, your team wins. Leafy is absolutely dreadful in this episode. She takes on a team leader role, but none of her teammates wanted the job, and so they're being forced to do this manual labor. Also, they just straight up torture Woody by pulling his tongue. I don't want to see that.
You're missing a team member. Yeah, Roboty's off doing something. I'm sure he means well, but sometimes it's
4 won't like this.
Oobly goobly weezer beezer.
Bottom of the list for sure. Most likely is gonna stay there for a bit. And also Beep loses, and I sure wonder who's gonna be out next episode. Also again, there's a BFB2 reanimated in 80 hours made by Gag of Green, which is where this nickel gif comes from. I love it. Not putting it any higher because of that though. It's just fun. When Death Pact realizes that they absolutely suck at saving lives, instead of stopping the problem, which is Gelatin throwing forks, they decide to get Lollipop's fork repellent. So the forks go into 4, and thus 4 kills Gelatin. Leafy is eliminated because of the previous incident, and the challenge this time is to get on your team swing and do a 360 50 times. In the last episode, because Beep didn't win, Taco was never brought out of her jawbreaker, and so the team collectively agrees that she has abandoned them. The teams realize that with flying contestants, they can push their team swing faster, and so the teams all try different methods to win. Team Ice Cube is up for elimination because their swing exploded. Also, I really don't think that the losers should have won here. Even if daylight savings did happen, then Clock wouldn't do whatever the hell this is, above the last. BFB really took a nosedive, huh? BFB 4 opens with the racer assaulting Belle. What a likable character. Racelly is eliminated, or as Fiery Jr. likes to call her, Ringy. The challenge is to depict 4 in any way, like sculptures, paintings, food, and more. Also, 8-Ball is getting absolutely abysmal. Every time Golf Ball says something, he says the opposite, so the team listens to him, and so they end up wasting almost the entire challenge just doing nothing, which almost causes them to lose. Luckily, everyone hates Penn's drawing, and so Death Pact is up for elimination. 8-Ball has an ending scene where he apologizes to a better name than that, but I'm not buying it because it didn't feel genuine at all. Even with all these negatives, there is still some very funny parts in this episode. Here are some of my personal favorites.
Death Pact! Exactly one of you is going to go! Not really a death pact, is it then?
It's an acronym!
Nice cake over, Beepsters. I wonder how you made it.
Wow, Bracelety went out strong. It's clear she didn't care about what others thought of her.
Today's very special episode goes below getting Teardrop to talk. This season has been really weird so far with its quality. I hope it gets consistent soon. Fortunate Ben just angers me. Let's start with the fact that Lai is eliminated because of the previous incident. Wait, where's the clip? Wait, let me check the script. Oh, there was nothing. The viewers just voted her out for no reason. Pi wasn't even in BFB 4, what the hell? Also, did you know that half of this episode is spent on the elimination? The challenge is to get in your paper plane and not touch the ground. There's not much that happens in this challenge except for the fact that Beep loses. I really wish more was done with this idea, but all the teams just kind of get to screw around at the end. Also, I'm not positive about this, but I heard that one of the season's producers, Satomi, had a grudge for Nickel, and that's why Beep was up for elimination so much. I think it's funny how when every member of Beep was eliminated, Nickel was the last one. Anyways, below Lick Your Way to Freedom. This season isn't bad so far, there are some great episodes coming up, but again, wish it was consistent quality-wise throughout.
Glad to have two legs again. Glad to be an ex again.
We begin BFB 6 with everyone tired of Force crap, so they kill him. Rest in peace, 4. Donut is the new host because they combined 4 times 0, which is 0. The challenge this time is to survive the Twinkle of Contagion. It's a strange juice that was plunged into Donut. Pillow is taking some intense notes right now. If you look at someone, then you get the Twinkle, so it's like a reverse staring contest, but everyone's involved. The team that loses this time is the losers. Corny and Pin have a nice heartfelt discussion about them not needing to rely on loser as much and just focus on their strengths together. That was definitely the highlight for me. There are some funny moments in this one too, like this one.
I'm so glad we arrived on the moon. That means the nearest sign of Twinkle is 400,000 kilometers away. Why do my plans never work?
4 goes too far, goes above BFB 3. Again, it's not bad, but it's not great. It's just fine.
Are they gonna pick us up, or what?
Random thing to notice, but why does Michael name these songs such weird names? They do slap though. After everyone is playing with those weird popper things, Loser arrives and says that he loved playing with those when they were invented. It turns out that Loser was lying. I love how Fanny makes such a big deal about this. This wasn't ever about you. Anyways, Donut is still hosting, and Loser is eliminated with a record 12,000 votes. Donut traps Loser in the Jawbreaker. And the challenge is like a golf thing where if the Jawbreaker goes into your team's goal, then you lose. Not much is focused on in this aspect on Earth. But remember, a better name than that and Bleh are still on the moon because of the whole Twinkle fiasco. So it's mostly focusing on recoding Robot Flower to control Remote. This whole scene looks really cool. Anyways, a better name than that loses because Remote tried to bomb everyone, so Robot Flower closed the connection. This episode was alright, going above Lick Your Way to Freedom. I was shocked to see that this episode isn't very well liked in the Object Show community, as this is one of my favorites back then. Now, it's not my favorite now, but that doesn't mean it's bad. Okay, so Donut is tired of everyone being on the moon, so he straight up just pushes the Earth into his new camera so it goes out the other side. What? Anyways, 8-Ball's eliminated and gets murdered. The challenge is pretty simple, just a standard quiz show, but everything about it works well. One of the main criticisms is that Match is being really rude to Bubble for no reason, and while it does suck, Match was always a jerk back in BFDIA, so I don't really mind it here. Plus, Match is also revealed to be a hypocrite in the after credits scene, as she was bullying Bubble for not knowing the answers to the quiz, but she didn't know them herself. L. Also, when 8-Ball was crushed, Saul inhaled his fumes, so now she keeps saying 8. And it's not a big problem in this episode as it is in later episodes, but yeah, this part is funny.
Question 6. What's the past tense of eat?
8!
Oh, that's actually correct.
Also, I like the fake voting screen at the end. This episode is going below today's very special episode. BFB 9 is a short episode, but it's not the worst episode. X is revealed to still be around after hiding in Fry's last episode. Donut gives X the hosting role and he immediately screws it up by revealing the votes backwards. Stapy is eliminated, but not really because he has nowhere to go. X builds his challenge, which, may I say, looks very well done. Good building skills, X. The challenge is to throw balls into the basket to weigh it down. Because Beep is full of a lot of armless contestants and Balloony is dead from BFB 7, it's up to Woody to bring his team to victory. And he throws the ball, and it makes it in. You needed to throw more than one ball, though. So, yeah, Beep is up for elimination. Above 4 goes too far.
Black hole! Yeah!
Fantastic. Like I said at the beginning of this entire video, this episode came out when I first started watching BFDI and object shows as a whole, so nostalgia might play a bit into it, but we'll see. X, after last episode, tries to become a better host. He does the elimination right and is really nice to Cloudy. Then the challenge is to bring back 4! So they try a bunch of stuff, but then Fiery takes the juice out of Donut and squirts it on the ground. 4 is back, hooray! Also, we finally get to see where the eliminated contestants go. The exit as a whole is a really cool background and place. I love the 3D. This is also the first and only rejoin of the season. Overall, BFB 10 is unsurprisingly going near the rest of the episodes. I'm starting to worry if the season will ever pick up. We're 10 episodes in, there's only a few that I would call great. I'm curious to when the switch of this season will happen. People say it's soon, so let's see. It happened. This is when many people agree that the season became good. Leafy is voted back to rejoin, but I would rather have Pencil or Lai return, but that's just me.
Thank you for this tissue bracelet!
It turns out that Beep does not trust Leafy anymore after the previous incident, so Leafy is now on the losers and immediately traumatizes Cake forever. The challenge this time is a lot simpler than usual, just climbing stairs, and the episode itself is pretty short, but everyone remembers it from this talk between Match and Bubble. We're going to see a lot more character development throughout the next few episodes, so this is just a sign of what's next to come. Match finally apologizes for her attitude and bullying towards Bubble, and it felt very genuine. Too bad she gets eliminated in the very next episode.
Uh-oh, Bubble is lashing out. Wait, why is it zooming in on... Never mind.
Also, the teams picked the most randomest characters to go up the stairs, like, why Tennis Ball? He doesn't even have any arms! Something Snowball would say. Also, Foldy is so derailed in this episode because Stapy got eliminated, so she goes after Flower, saying her team is the reason Stapy got out. And while that is true, I bet you that if Ainz was up for elimination in BFB 8, then the next time Free Food will be up for elimination that Stapy would be out, so it really didn't matter anyways. This episode is a sign of things to come, and what many people say is the golden age of Season 4. It can only go up from here, top of the list. Also, the final rankings might change at the end because I ended up shifting a lot of things around during editing, so just be aware of that. About every fan of BFDI can agree that this episode is where the season starts getting incredible. And I completely agree, this episode is awesome. We begin with 4 and X acting rather odd. The match gets eliminated because of the Okay, I need to stop doing that joke. It turns out that 4 and X have switched bodies, and the challenge is to guess who is the imposter on your team. Kinda reminds me of a certain game. Huh. It's just really fun seeing how they decipher who the fraud is with questions and games. Team Ice Cube is up for elimination because Tree shapeshifted into Spongy. This episode is my favorite of the season so far, and we're about to enter the greatest part of BFB, the Lava Trilogy. What is that? I don't know, you tell me. Here we are, the Lava Trilogy. I don't know why I keep saying that. Throughout BFB 3 to now, we've had a lot of bickering between Taco, Book, and Lollipop. It's what most people call the Book Taco arc. It pretty much ends next episode, but it started out with Taco abandoning Bleh, and then the team collectively hating Taco. And then some kind of just leave, and then in this episode, it reaches the climax, when Gaby confronts Book about her behavior towards Taco. It's a very well done scene. Also, remember in BFB 8 when Saw kept saying 8? Well, now it's gone to the absolute worst, which her just screaming 8 every time she says something that rhymes with it. So get ready to hear that for a few more episodes, and also the next season. I don't... Why?
So, yeah. Also, hey, Saw.
Mikey!
You okay?
I feel great! All my number-yelling urges are completely sad. I didn't abandon you. I just came back late. I don't hate this crank's traits. I rate it a straight 8 out of 8.
Sorry, I'm getting ahead of myself. What happened at the beginning again? Oh yeah, Fiery Jr. was eliminated. What a memorable character. I really enjoyed all of his, 4 lines in the entire show. Okay. Our next challenge, which takes place during the next episode as well, so this is a 2-parter, is trying to find X's treasure underground. A better name than that does some digging, and finds out that the treasure is some emeralds. Really, the rest of the episode is pretty much just filler, but I love the animation. You can tell it's improved, as there have been lots of new hirings over the past 2 episodes. It's mainly just all of them digging for the treasure, and then Team Ice Cube finds a... well, I don't know, what is that? I guess we'll have to find out next time! Top of the list. Also, I wonder what this voting is for.
You will give me Dream Island and release BFDIA 6.
Alright, that's out of line. That's out of line.
So I've just found out during editing that that vote was for something else entirely. I hate you, Multics. Here we are, the second episode of the Lava Trilogy, and also my favorite of the season, also up there with my favorite episode as a whole. It turns out that the thing that Team Ice Cube found last time was a planet, underground, specifically a buried forest, deciduously
Gelatin, please don't use my barbecue.
And then Spongy's fat ass ends up causing the entirety of the underground to flood with lava. This is how we get the name the Lava Trilogy. I feel stupid saying this. This episode is also monumental for me because I made 2 terrible videos on BFB 14, so thanks for the views, guys. This episode, out of all of them so far, feels so much more intense and feels like an impactful and treacherous journey. The Taco Book arc is pretty much closed here. I guess it also goes to the next episode too, but I don't know. Where Pin and Book have a nice talk about Taco and Ice Cube, who switched teams. I forgot to mention that. I am forgetting so many things in these reviews. Please, if you have the time, watch the episodes in full. This is not a good summary like at all. Also, I love this amazing reference to BFDI Apasot 255. Put it on screen, this is what it was called. And also, this is the first time Bleh is up for elimination. And now you might be asking, DCS, how does the Lava Trilogy continue if the episode just ended and it was only a 2-parter? And to that I say, I have no idea.
We found the last emerald. So Taco is up for elimination.
Get off my plane.
Now.
You know, Flower, there isn't enough room up here.
You're right.
I think it's funny that the song that plays during Fiery and Leafy's argument is called Breakup Simulator Light. Eliminated this time is Dora. Glad it wasn't Lollipop, she gets so much more development later on, you'll see. The challenge this time is to get your team back to 4. This episode is honestly kinda boring, but it's good with a lot of conversation and cool details with the lava. Oh yeah, I also really like this shot. There really isn't a lot to this episode, and that's what makes it a good follow-up to the next one. Team Ice Cube is up for elimination again.
I don't know what to say next. Go! Next episode! Now! Go!
What do you have to say for yourself, huh?
This is pretty much the turning point of BFB. Before I talk about this episode, I need to explain what goes on after this. See, Carrie and Michael realized that if BFB kept going at the rate it was going, one episode every 6 months, then the show would end when the world would end. So they decided to split BFB into a version with 14 contestants and a version with 40 contestants. The 14 contestant one is what the object show community calls Post-Split, and that's what I'm going to be referring to now on as well. The 40 contestant one will become BFDI's 5th season, Battle for Dream Island to the Power of 2, or TPOT. Throughout the rest of the season ranking, we'll be looking at Post-Split up until its finale, and then we'll finish off with TPOT. Oh yeah, BFB 16. Yeah, it's terrible. We start back in the exit, and all the eliminated folk are trying to escape. Spongy is eliminated, but fails to go through 4 because he's too big. So the exiters use this opportunity to escape through Spongy as a passage.
Ouchie!
4? Here's a juice box to make you feel better. 4?
What the hell is this? So Loser and Spongy both escape, and before 4 can capture them, this green guy shows up, and his name is 2. And he decides to steal almost all of 4's contestants, except for the 14 that go on into Post-Split. I really don't like 2's bratty nature here. I can see why he wasn't a well-liked host at first. I said at first for a reason, you'll see. 2 even takes X. The reason why the contestants switched to battle for 2's power, and he shows what this power can do. Very cool. Anyways, 4X very different than what we've seen before in this character. Before he was this ungodly beast that could do anything, now he's crying and moping around like a toddler. Very weird how that just kinda happened. However, I can kinda understand it. This random guy shows up, takes almost all of your contestants, and then teleports you and your other friends to God knows where. I would be upset too. This episode is pretty bad just because of how rushed it felt, and also the fact that 2 is being a very bad host in my opinion. However, we get the first debut of TPOT. Let's see who's getting it. Oh yeah, we still have 14 episodes to go of Post-Split. Well, here we go. Also, the title card is gonna change. Get ready! Oh my god. Talk about a rough transition. So, Jack and Jelfie did some hirings and allowed a lot of new people to come onto the team to animate, to write, to make backgrounds and stuff. And I don't want to call out any names, but some of the hirings were kind of bad. Let's talk about the episode first. So 4 is sad that X isn't here, which Taco points out that 4 literally told him to leave, and because nobody wants to help 4 offers both the BFB and the BFDI as a prize. They're split into 2 teams, and right off the bat, I'm just gonna say there are a few issues with this cast of characters, like why Balloony? Spoiler alert, he's out in the next episode, and with the new vote to save format, where if you have the least votes you get eliminated, there was no way Balloony would have survived with characters like Bubble, Ruby, Leafy, Gelatin, Teardrop, hell, maybe even Lollipop. The other team is fine. Also, I guess now it is time for me to plug in my old entry for a BFB 17 multi-animator project.
Take a wild guess.
I know I keep talking about the animations, but it is such a big issue. To refer back to the topics of multi-animator projects, this episode feels like a map. It just keeps changing art styles every scene, and it's really hard to focus on anything else. So the challenge is to get X back. I like how Ruby pulls out the Free Smart Superfan, but Ruby says,
right before her unforgivable elimination, our Mystic Alliance leader Pencil gifted me her most prized possession.
So, no, Pencil did not give Ruby the Free Smart Superfan box. We saw her literally get sucked into 4. The hell? They drive the Supervan back to Goiki and take X back. Another thing.
Oh darn, looks like I've been judged by the color of my food coloring once again. Perhaps I should use this paint bucket to change my color. Then I could avoid being on the same team as Balloony's ruthless murderer.
Why did Lollipop even need the paint can if she only said one line about it? I get it was for X to be glued to the ground, but Lollipop didn't know that. Lollipop didn't know there'd be a glue bottle on a random shelf that doesn't appear anywhere else in Teapot. You could probably tell already, but this episode has really poor writing. Like, loser spits on the ground, and that's why X marks the spot. There's also just a lot of retcons in this and continuity errors, like the aforementioned pencil being eliminated and giving Ruby the box. Here's just a few examples.
Hey, 4! Can I name my lovely team now? That'll be a future contest.
Nope. They were named by 4 and X respectively in the very next episode.
I personally like X as our host.
Yeah, X is the kindest host of the 3 we've seen by far. I hardly remember meeting the pulsating cyborg box.
I almost prefer the old announcer.
There's also a bunch of things that make absolutely no sense. Why did 4 do this? Why does Flower grow my petals? Why didn't Corny look at the shelf before grabbing the glue? And how did nobody see Lollipop do this? I could go on and on about this episode, but I'll spare you the time and just say that this is the worst episode of BFB and the entirety of BFDI. I might be too harsh on this episode because, again, it was a transitional period for BFB at the time, but I can't believe the show changed this drastically so fast. At least it can't get any worse from here. I hope.
New material? Let me get that down on paper.
That was so bad, what the hell was that? So this episode is better than the last one, but just like a little tiny step better. Like the next episode narrows the already claustrophobic rankings of these post-split episodes even more. The animation has gotten better, sort of, and there's also some funny jokes too.
Hooray! Now I'm not nervous anymore.
Hey, Gelatin, that's not fair.
You know what, Bubble? Accents? They can change. Good plan, but who do we impersonate? It can't be Loser. Last time I impersonated him, I got arrested and put on probation.
And also some not so funny jokes.
Oh, I'm feeling so much pressure again. This is not good.
Sorry, Mommy, did I do a no-no again?
So Balloony is eliminated and is just sent up into the sky. Bubble is motivated to get Balloony back, so she starts hitting the clip in BFB. 4 decides that the challenge should be for your team to knock down the other team's tower. I like the part when the 4-colored team goes undercover.
Who's next? Who's next?
Tora, what are you doing here?
Oh, for Petal's sake!
Teapot contestants do not belong in this battle arena!
What? This was also a really well done scene.
Whoa!
Because the 4-colored team has a place to live, they are the have-hots! Because the X-colored team doesn't, they are the have-nots!
These names are so stupid. Thanks, Taggy. Above the last one. Still has some major problems, but it's fine nonetheless. Moving on to... oh no. What the hell was that?
And I saw in the back mirror that you...
What happened to these intros, bro? So BFB 19 is pretty much BFB 17, so poor writing and bad animation, minus the bad animation. Animation has actually improved so much. This episode and the next one blend together a lot for me because at their core, they're pretty much the same episode. Spongy is eliminated, but I'm not sad about it this time because he unfairly rejoined.
It's really important that you guys know that the spaceship isn't able to... Nice knowing you, old pal.
Today's challenge is to help X grow his aloe vera, which is here now. There's a scene where Blocky and Taco are talking about how the viewers are getting so bored that Taco needs to make shadow puppets. But why talk about how that I'm getting bored and not just do something more exciting? That's not a good sign in your episode if you need to tell the audience that they're bored. Then X catches on fire. Get ready to hear X in pain for the rest of this episode and the next. Oh cool, they have ice buckets now. I'm pretty sure they'll just dump the ice buckets onto X.
We gotta use ice to shrink the sun!
One thing I can give these episodes is that Gelatin consistently has the funniest lines.
Hey guys, where did we even find this spaceship? It's made of cardboard.
I don't know. I think a friend donated it to me.
This was also pretty funny.
Looks like X's problems are solved.
However, this episode is the most forgettable episode of BFB so far, which means it's going right above BFB 17. Just next. Go to the next one. Do it. Do it. Do it. If you know anything about Post-Split, you'll know that this is probably the most hated episode of Post-Split and also BFDI. However, it really isn't that bad. There are some pretty bad parts, which we'll talk about, but it's actually really funny. Before we continue, let's just knock out the very funny lines.
It's an Alliance member's duty to give other members air.
Care to give me some air? No straw needed.
Lily!
Where is everyone?
In space! And some people died!
Everyone knows that.
I don't know anything about what you're going to say.
As I was saying, everyone knows that.
I don't know either.
Oh! Literally nothing happened.
Not now, Leafy. We're doing nothing.
The Earth must have rotated by too many people running quickly in place. We learned that in Earth class.
You got it. Now allow me to make fun of the sun. Hey, son! You're, pretty lame. Guys, there are no rules. I put a block around all of the Earth.
And the have-nots have minus 95 million points.
So, what you're saying is, we all did awesome?
The have-nots have minus 100 million points.
Ruby is eliminated, so this is already not great. The challenge is to cool down X from last challenge. What makes this episode infuriating is because of a few reasons. 1. It takes 11 minutes for the contestants to come to the conclusion that they can cool down X with the ice bucket. I get it was part of the joke how nobody thought of that, but it's still kind of stupid. Number 2, 4 and X introduce points to the challenge and become very annoying with subtracting points for absolutely no reason. 3, X gets cooled down and still complains, like, what if it was 1 degree warmer? Like, X is really annoying in this episode. Something I like, though, is the whole background of the sun. I love how they made it such a cool environment. Also, what is Ruby doing here? Bro thinks she on the team. I also like the different methods they do to cool down X, except for spitting on X and flour. That was yuck. This is probably the funniest episode of Post-Split yet. It's going above BFB 16. It really isn't that bad as most people say it is. Multix wanted me to do an elephant green screen effect again, so...
Whoa, so this is where my sleep paralysis demon takes me in my dreams!
This is the moment where Post-Split turns from utter garbage to actually pretty good episodes. These next episodes are even better than some of Pre-Split. To begin, we have Loser being eliminated, which marks the final unfair rejoiner elimination. I still don't know why they chose these guys to join BFB, when there could have been Pencil or Lai, but whatever. The challenge is to steal from Yellowface's warehouse and deliver presents to members of your teams. This episode has a lot of great qualities. I like the setting of Yellowface's warehouse. That's something I can give these Post-Split episodes, is that the backgrounds are really nice to look at. The Pillory Ruins has really nice colors, and so does the sun and the warehouse, and that's all we've seen so far. This episode has much better writing in my opinion. There's also a lot of nice development with Blocky, Woody, and Taco. Taco and Blocky is a pair that has gradually gotten more and more important as the episodes have gone on. Taco acts like a parental figure towards Blocky and helps him improve his stance on Woody. The present they decide to give to Woody is a cardboard box, and they give it to him so he can hide in it when he gets scared. But it turns out that being scared is not what Woody wants to be. And when Taco and Blocky tried to give him this, it ended up causing their team to be up for elimination because Woody was not satisfied. If I had one negative, it'd be that Fiery is really stupid in this episode.
The Woody in our heads was kinda insulting to the Woody in reality.
Are you saying there's a little Woody living in my head right now? How you doing, little buddy?
Below BFB 6. Last time we will get to hear this amazing sound. Here we are, BFB 22, my favorite episode of Post-Split. Even then, it's still pretty high up on the overall rankings as a whole. We begin rather dramatically, with Loser's diary being stolen by 4, which was then stolen by someone else, but Loser stole the diary from Donut to begin with, so I don't even know. And then we have the most dramatic elimination of BFDI, where Taco was eliminated by 1 vote. There's rumors around that the elimination was staged and it wasn't exactly 1 vote, it was like 8 or 9. But I'd like to think that if someone changed their vote, then the season could have gone in a completely different direction. Oh yeah, we get to see the elimination area. The BRB, the big rotating building. The challenge is to find out who stole the diary in a court case. It's actually a really cool challenge. Seeing everyone's side of the story. Lollipop and Gelatin start an alliance. Random throwaway line, I don't know why I included that. And here we are, the best scene of the episode. The one-on-one talk with Fiery and Leafy. Why he's been ignoring her ever since the finale. Fiery took the diary because he wanted to finally have something since Leafy stole Dream Island. And remember back in the BFDIA ranking? We begin right where BFDI 25 left off with everyone chasing Leafy. If you don't know why this happened, just be patient, it'll be explained later. Shh. That is this scene. We get to see what happened between BFDI 25 and BFDIA 1. I love how they replicated the old style. And why they're all chasing Leafy. This is probably the best scene of all of Post-Split. That scene moves it up the ranking a lot for me. Not to mention that Fiery wins again. Oh yeah, this is stupid funny for no reason.
Time.
Hello, time for my story.
Are you a grape? Who is this?
I was on my way to grape flying class.
Nice costume, Bucky. You annoying thing.
This program was brought to you by Blocky's Funny Doings International.
The Blocky's Funny Doings International Corporation was found guilty for perjury, lying under oath, and all affiliated parties.
In short, BFB 22 is the best episode of Post-Split. Now you know that these episodes can't get worse than BFB 17 and can't get better than BFB 22. There's a range. Guess where the rest of these are going? That's right in the damn center.
I'm finally ready to present my new fashion line. Glitter for your face!
Why do all the contestants hate these sweaters? They go kinda hard. I love the designs. We find out during the elimination that 4 was imprisoned because he trespassed into the courtroom from last episode. And Bubble is actually eliminated. I was not expecting that. The challenge is to break 4 out of the jail. The Have-Nots try to climb up to 4, and the Half-Cots go back to the warehouse to get some jailbreaking supplies. The Have-Nots have a cool strategy involving the boxing gloves, but it ends up getting them nowhere. And the Have-Cots take the 200-year-old steam train to get to the warehouse.
Fiery, wanna come with?
Nah, I gotta stay loyal to my team. But next time for sure.
I wonder what this box is. Oh, it's Purple-Faced, and he ate all the contestants. To be fair, they do look like little candies. They meet this guy named Portable Speaker Player, and he dies before he gets to say 2 lines. Also, I like the twist where the jail is just cardboard.
I will be forever grateful for your heroic deed. Yippee!
What?
Have-Nots are up for elimination. Not much else to say except the stinger was funny with the random happy music over this really serious text. Here's something random. You ever notice that if a character is in the scene before the intro, then they're most likely gonna be eliminated? BFDI has actually done this for ages. Here's an example from BFDI 11.
What do you think that cloud looks like? I think the cloud looks like a tennis ball. Well, I think it looks like a golf ball.
Also, it's not just BFDI, it's also other object shows like Inanimate Insanity, like here's a clip from Season 2, Episode 4.
Loving these grapes, Knife. Say, Knife, how do you say grapes in Espanol?
Oh, shut up!
I don't think that's how it's pronounced.
Meepad, show the votes.
Anyways, Purple-Face does the elimination. Well, he hides from 4 because 4 does not like Purple-Face. And Flower is eliminated. The challenge this time is... Wait. No, I read that wrong. No. Okay, no. Flower still in. Stick was eliminated. What do you mean you don't remember Stick? Look, he's right there. I like this intro with purple face.
And now it's time for the intro. Flower, go behind me so you can use your hands and lift it into the air.
Okay then.
Yay!
Also, it's time for the merge! The challenge is to throw for a party because he wanted to be selfish. His exact words.
Honestly, Fiery, like, why didn't you stand up for me back there? I know I apologized for all that happened, but you never apologized to me for ignoring me for years. And you're still contributing to that, you know?
Oh, Leafy, I didn't even think about it.
I know. I'll talk to you later.
Fire-Leafy fails. Flower and Leafy decide to team up, and they venture down into quicksand, endless falls, and a long tightrope to get to this guy named Rusty Coin. He offers Flower the party supplies, but then he starts chasing them because he wants to be part of their group. I don't have much to say. The challenge judging is the best part. Most of the people ended up not making any parties for 4 at all.
And you guys stop using your parties as a way to fix your own personal conflicts and just base your lives around me, please.
However, Fiery did build Leafy a new Ferris wheel, so Fire-Leafy wins again! My favorite was Lollipop's amazing party with purple faces singing. Let me just play this beautiful song for you.
4, 4, I love you so much. You are such a cool little number, and your face is kind of weird too.
Lollipop ends up winning and chooses Gelatin to also have immunity.
I feel like I could fly for hours.
Hooray!
And that means everyone else is up for elimination. Also, send help. I just opened up a box fan and put my thumb inside, and now there's a slit in my thumb. Do not let me near a box fan.
Oh my tree! It's Flower's announcer crusher!
What the hell happened to Leafy's voice? So Fiery got eliminated, which means there's no more Fire-Leafy. This is so sad. Anyways, I quite literally have nothing to say about the Twisted Temple. I blinked and this one was over. The challenge is to find some totems in this temple, and there's a purple face tour, but nothing ever comes from it. The most interesting part was when Teardrop joined Lollipop and Gelatin's alliance. Also, Flower dancing for 73 days. Flower is safe, and so is Teardrop. No other words. I have no words. Like, I have so little words that we are gonna run out of. This episode is weird, you'll see. For saying this lives in my head rent-free.
I'm out of here. That was odd.
Woody's eliminated, who I forgot to say had his own pranking shtick for a while when Blocky left, but I didn't include it because I don't find Woody an interesting character. Also, the carrot cake is sentient. So we're down to the final 5. Oh yeah, Profiley too. Kinda forgot he's been here the whole time. What do you mean you don't remember Profiley? They've been here all along. Look.
Hey, announcer! Imagine this during a contest! Get it? It's like a tiebreaker.
Wow, that's a good pun.
Thank you!
So the winner is either Fiery or Leafy.
What about me, announcery for founcery?
You're covered in ooze and Donut's got a hole!
And I am a ray of sunshine, and you all love hanging out with me. Move the camera over! Hey, I'm here!
This is the ultimate gaslight. Profiley ends up joining the competition and gets immediately eliminated because they're annoying. Also, they're too good at every challenge. The leaf one gets me every time.
Never mind. It's to look the most like a leaf.
I win!
4 gets reasonably upset here when the contestants say that they want to throw Profiley a party, which he mentions that he tried to get like 70 people to throw him a party. 70? Which he mentions that he tried to get 7 people to throw him a party, and only 2 of them did. The challenge is to eliminate Profiley yourself by taking them to the big rotating building. I like when Flower and Lollipop are on the ship and they end up dying.
I thought you said you were a good driver.
Oh, Scribble Pop. No. Ha ha ha. There's a very simple explanation. I lied to you. But hey, what's the worst that could happen?
We crash?
Don't be ridiculous.
Leafy wins the challenge because the carrot cakes went rogue. I normally skip the stinger, but it's really important because new people want to join the show, so 4 gets a bus, and they officially leave the Pillory Ruins. Let's see where they go as we head into BFB 27, under BFB 8. Looks like that they drove into the desert. Remember the desert? It was from BFB 1, and so was the largest oven. That's here too, and it gets a lot more world building. Before we go there though, let's do the BFB 27 elimination. This time, it's Lollipop going into the big rotating building. Very sad. Lollipop got so much development on this half of the season. Before, she was one of the most hated characters, and now she's a fan favorite.
You know, I really began to like Naily at the end there.
That was Lollipop.
Okay, I guess I wasn't paying as much attention as I thought.
The challenge is to escape the largest oven. Also, one of the guys followed them onto the bus. Hi, CRT. They can never make me hate you. Leafy ends up joining the Alliance and invites Flower to, so the Alliance is now useless.
If only Lollipop was still in the game, she'd know what to do.
Well, sometimes different is good.
I don't know. Lollipop being gone is like if suddenly one day your voice sounded different. Wouldn't that be weird?
Yeah.
That was a funny line, actually. My favorite part is Teardrop and Flower in the Mega Mall. I love the backgrounds. As said before, backgrounds are still a highlight of Post-Split. Did you guys miss Leafy from BFDI 23? Me neither. She's back. She starts whining about how she truly is a nice person, and to show how nice she is, she ends up killing everyone. How nice. Teardrop betraying Flower at the very end of the oven is such a power move. Also, after this episode, Teapot 1 releases, but we're not talking about it yet because we still got 3 more episodes of Post-Split. God, how I can't wait for Teapot 1 and 2. Above BFB 9. BFB 28 is a pretty boring episode. Like, nothing really What the hell is that announcer? Announcer comes back to BFB to regain control of the show, since 4 and X have been, apparently, doing a terrible job. 4 does not take this too well.
Okay, X, I need ideas, and I need them quickly.
Okay, how about a big building? Like a hotel, but for food?
4 ends up sinking into the ground so that he'll always be around. Announcer decides to bring back teams, but it's just one team of 4, so it's useless again. Also, Announcer decides to use up almost the entire show's budget for expensive prizes and a gigantic challenge. Leafy is eliminated. Serves you right.
Thanks, Fiery. I'm sure it'll be okay.
Just like BFDI 23, the final challenge is all of the challenges put together. The quiz with Gelatin Announcer was the funniest part, where Flower consistently guesses the number and Gelatin just ends up for asking a new question.
Still no.
Can I please have a new question?
Okay. Am I gray?
Yes?
Very good. You may now continue on.
Are you kidding?
I forgot to mention that X can recover now. There was a thing at the beginning with him recovering Purple Face, but it didn't go too well. But throughout the course of the episode, he ended up learning how to do it.
Wow! Congratulations, Flower! Or should I say, Detective Flower! If anything
X, stop yapping. The contestants are catching up. Flower wins the immunity.
Hello? Are you coming back soon? 4?
Well, Gelatin and Teardrop are up for elimination, which means we're about to enter the final 2 of BFB, under 26. As if the budget wasn't already being wasted, Announcer wastes the rest of it on even more expensive prizes, a golden bus, $50,000 for Flower's business, and a very dramatic elimination. In this elimination, it's time for Teardrop to go. She was treated so much better in this season. I think 3rd is a very good place for her to land. Well, now because the show is out of money, BFB is cancelled. Huh, where have I seen this before? So, yeah, nobody wins BFB. Well, it was fun while it lasted. Just kidding, let's follow Purple Face to an abandoned TV station. We gotta make more money for the show. They do lots of different shows. My favorite is Purple Faces.
It's time for Purple Faces Torture Time with Flower.
I want it, I need it, I'm begging for it, please give it.
Go Fire! This episode is really entertaining. My favorite part has to be the end where the budget runs out when it turns into paper and then just Microsoft Paint. When the show is turned into literal storyboards, Flower sacrifices her $50,000 to save the show, and it's up to the voters to vote who to win BFB. Hope you guys are ready for the next one, because it is the longest episode of the entire show, under BFB 22. Here we are, the finale of BFB, and wow is it jam-packed. We begin with the Exiters. Okay. Turns out this is all in 4's head. We start where BFB 29 left off. I forgot to mention it though. There was a crack in the ground. 4 appears as the ground to talk to Flower and Gelatin, saying that he wants to be left alone forever. Cut to the next day and we have a large crowd watching us again. We got birthday cake and birthday cake. It was just birthday cake. Just like last season, the contestants get to vote, plus Profiley, plus Purple Face.
So it's all tied up, 7-7. Thanks for nothing.
And the winner of BFB is Flower, by a 1 vote difference. Oh wait, that was just paper. So Flower won BFB, along with the BFDI, the grain cake, and the actual BFB. The carrot cake from the grand cake gives Flower a happy thought, and she thinks that it would be better if Gelatin won the BFB, because he made so many new friends this season, so she actually gives him the prize. I'm gonna talk about Flower for a bit now. See, we remember Flower from Season 1. First boot, egotistical, mean, you know, the usual. Well, in BFB, it all turned around for her. She got nicer, she made new friends, and she ended up saving the entire show. Now, some people think that Jack and Jellyfy might have set Flower up to be the winner. I'm pretty neutral about this opinion. On one hand, we have Flower sacrificing her business money to save the whole show, and on the other, Gelatin has been the funniest part of Post-Split and made a great alliance. I think Gelatin definitely should have won, which is why Flower gives him the prize. So I don't really know what to think about Flower supposedly being carried throughout Post-Split. It's definitely a possibility, but I don't think the crew would do something like that. Anyways, the BFB condenses into its own block. I love the stupid 4 wiki page.
Wow! There it is! The BFB! This is gonna be delish!
You can open up the BFB and skim through the season. That's pretty neat. Announcer, however, does not want to give back the BFDI, as he only came here for the BFDI. I forgot to mention that in the last episode too. It was like the main plot. I'm so stupid. Just then, Purple Face runs away with the BFDI. We get to talk with X for a bit about 4. Apparently, he's been doing these fake seasons in his head for a long time now.
What we need to do is give 4 a big, big hug!
I'm not going to talk about everything, so I'll just talk about the interesting parts. 4 ends up getting rid of all the imaginary exiters, and Profiley annoys 4 to the point where he ends up leaving the desert. X and friends go in the super van to follow him throughout the desert. And the evil forest. Back to the Purple Face stuff, everyone ends up wanting the BFDI for themselves, which, may I mention, seems very out of character for some of them, like Taco, and their reason was she wanted to watch the barf bag contest when there was also the taco contest. Just then the bus dangles off a cliff. Everyone gets off except for Flower, Purple Face, and the announcer. Purple Face exclaims that no one respects him, but Flower reminded him that he helped host BFB 29 and did a cake at stake and the temple tour. Announcer decides to give Flower the BFDI, but she decides that she doesn't really want it anymore because it was Announcer's show to begin with. It's also the only archive of the first season left. We'll get to that in a minute. Flower is actually really selfless in this episode. I think it works for her gradual change into becoming a better person. We get some cool 4 lore here from X, saying that 4 used to be a very big fan of BFDI back in the day. When the first season finished, 4 compiled the entire season into a block, creating the legendary A BFDI. When the other gang gets back, Profiley decides to plan something nice for 4. 4 heads to the BFB, and when that doesn't work, he launches up into the air on the sun.
Oh, hey, 2! You're more powerful than 4, right? Can't you do something about this sun thing?
4 complains that the contestants won't move on, and then we get the most controversial scene of the episode, where Gelatin exclaims that they continued to stay in the show, and 4 hurt them, and he was mean to them, and they still stayed. Now, some people think that 4's response here is out of character. This is another opinion that I'm overall neutral on. For one, normal 4 would probably just kill Gelatin like this, but on the other hand, 4's gradual change in becoming a more interesting host and gaining more emotion, again, felt pretty natural to me. I guess after BFB 16, 4 really changed, and I'm not sure if it was for the worst or the best. 4 showed a new side to us. He had emotions, he had feelings. He only acted so powerful against everyone because there was nothing stopping him from losing as contestants. When 2 arrived, he felt lonely and afraid. He ended up becoming selfish, a bully. But to be fair, 40 of his contestants left. Nobody helped get X back until 4 made it a challenge. 4 asked 7 people to throw him a party and only 2 of them did, and they all turned to the announcer so fast. I think that, like Gelatin said,
maybe we were all a little mean here.
However, Gelatin also says that they did have fun in BFB, like with all the challenges, and even in the big rotating building, there were still tablets and stuff to keep them entertained, and that nobody would stay for 30 episodes for something they actively dislike. This really gets to 4, in a good way, and he returns out of the sun to go back to the desert.
Congratulations on winning, by the way.
Flower won.
Oh dear, I had a lot of money riding on that. Oh no, this is really, like, bad news, guys.
It turns out that while the other game was gone, Profiling and his gang made a big party for 4. Now that's really nice of them. 4 and the announcer apologize to each other, and he does apologize to Purpleface too. And here we go. Remember how I keep talking about Fire Leafy? Well, this is when it really comes together. When Fiery and Leafy sail away to find a new Dream Island. I can't make this up. How can you prove that this ship isn't canon? Fire Leafy wins again!
Has anyone actually seen Teardrop? She's been missing for like a day now.
Also, the final line with Flower gives me goosebumps.
I really did win, didn't I?
Wow, that's so powerful. Because in the end, Flower really did win. She made lots of great friends, she started a business with Gelatin, she shared all of her prizes, and she finally left her habit of being mean to people. And that was the finale of BFB, chapter complete. And wow, is it fitting. It's truly an amazing finale. It's much, much better than BFDI 25. At least this one actually had a satisfying conclusion. It's jam-packed with great storytelling, lots of character development, great humor, and even gets you emotional at sometimes. It's the quintessential finale for Post-Split, and I couldn't imagine it any other way. This is the best episode of Post-Split, and it's going below BFB 4. Always have loved this one.
So, Fiery, the first word of the season review was hey.
Yeah?
So, I thought it'd be cool if we made the last word the same too, right?
Chill. Hey, I need to borrow this. Thanks.
Hey!
And there it is, Battle for BFDI, or as the second half of the season would like to call it, Battle for BFDI. And while it was a long one, this season was very mixed because I had some of the best episodes to offer and also some of the worst. I definitely wouldn't call Pre-Split the best or Post-Split the worst, because Pre-Split had some pretty trash episodes too, and Post-Split still had some great ones. I'd say they're about even, Pre-Split just a bit more because it had episodes like BFB 13, 14, and 12. We're about to enter Season 5, which at this time is not finished. It currently has 12 episodes, but we're only doing it up to TPOT 11, because TPOT 12 was leaked at the New York meetup. I did watch it, and I'll talk about it when the episode fully releases, maybe in a community post or something. I actually haven't watched most of these episodes in a while, so I'm excited to jump back into the world of Battle for Dream Island, The Power of Two. Here we go, Teapot 1. Honestly, this episode isn't really even that good. It's amazing. It's the best episode of the show so far. This is the best premiere BFDI has ever had. We begin with everyone sitting around, waiting for Teapot to start, when 2 pops in and starts the debut. If you remember, 26 contestants were able to join, and the winner was, well, winner. However, that means there's going to be 41 contestants now. To balance it out, 2 adds the second place joiner, which was non-existy, but he doesn't exist, so he adds price tag. Woohoo! 2 acts like a much better host than from BFB 16. He's nice and caring, except for when everyone beat him up at the end. I don't think he liked that very much. The team picking is very good. There are 6 teams of 7, and the teams themselves are really nice, except maybe Snowball's team. There was a bit of missed potential there. The team names are You Okay? Just Not, Team 8, that was named by Saw, The Strongest Team on Earth, Death Pact Again, and the S.
These team names are so stupid.
Oh yeah, this is the original clip. Before the challenge starts, we gotta change up the background. Remote wants it to be yellow trees and green grass, but she mistakes it for yellow grass and green trees. But as Nayli points out, it does look a lot nicer. And then we have the Teapot intro. and it is a masterpiece. With great music provided by Cole Bones, the intro packs so much punch while showing off the characters quick and fast. It's the best BFDI intro, maybe even contender for the best object show intro. Actually, no, maybe I'll do an object show intro tier list. The challenge is relatively simple, get to the top of the hotel, but like other simple challenges, there's so much packed into it. One main problem is that nobody heard 2 say that when you get to the top, you can't go back down. This creates some good conflict for the teams, as they have to think of new methods to get up now.
Stupid elevator, close already!
You know those buttons don't do anything, right?
She said the thing! I like Squishy Yellowface. It's a reference to this incredible video. Let's watch it now. True cinema. Death Pact again tries a strategy with Black Hole, but ends up failing because they can't get his attention in time. This is another episode that I definitely recommend watching on your own, and I mean definitely. For the best of the show so far, why wouldn't you? It's fantastic, it's funny, it is great storytelling, and it's a pre-split episode turned up to the max. Death Pact again is up for elimination, but TPOT also does vote to save now, so the one with the least votes is going home. Also, notice I keep saying so far, because next we have... And this is it! It might be an overrated pick, but I absolutely adore TPOT 2. It's just fantastic. I think that the, oh my god, 1 year wait was really worth it in the end. If TPOT 1 was the best, TPOT 2 is even better. We start with Death Pact again at Robot Flower Store trying to get a new battery for remote. They end up trading with Cloudy, but Black Hole sucks up the battery.
Last episode, Death Pact again made a grievous error, so they were put up for elimination.
An error?
Yeah, losing!
At elimination, Pi is eliminated and she says some very heart-wrenching last words.
Well.
Also, why don't new TPOT episodes have the grids anymore? I love the grids! Well, we're down to the final 41 again. Oh, for God's sake. Profiley brings Teardrop along, and 2 lets her join the show. But she can't be on a full team, and she can't be on Death Pact again, so she is on her own team, which creates Teardrop. I love how pissed she is in this frame. Remember in BFB 30 where 2 was playing with blocks? I alluded to it before, but this challenge is to build a stack with the blocks. I can't believe how much is stacked into this episode, pun unintended. I don't know how much of a compliment this is, but it feels like I'm watching this on TV. That's how high quality this episode is. It feels like it would air perfectly after a new total drama. There's so many little things about this episode that I love. Gady's talk with 2, it felt so calm and relaxing. On the other side, the racer constantly knocking down stacks, always saying,
"What are you gonna do about it?"
was not very relaxing, but it was funny nonetheless. And Teardrop and Death Pact's brawl. Also, poor Black Hole. Here's some moments where I feel really bad for him.
Oh, and since you love sucking up blocks, you'll actually be good for something.
Ha, 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 ha. Let's go.
What? Did I say something funny?
No.
You suck, don't you?
Excuse me. Death is just some kind of game to you, isn't it? Well, you know what? I don't need to kill you for you to be dead to me. What are you doing? This is the worst day of my life.
Also, he said the thing! Not to mention, I love the animation. There's even parts where Carrie animates. He hasn't done that since BFB 14. Even though it might seem a little out of place, I don't really care. His style is really charming. If I had one complaint, I guess it would be the Pin cheating part. She felt a bit out of character there. But to be fair, Corny keeps reminding Pin of how fun BFDIA was. But it makes sense now, considering in the new BFDIA, she is a thumbtack. So I can understand where she's coming from. Also, I do think Blue is cheating. I think any other team would have considered it cheating too. Even if it's not against the rules, it still doesn't feel right. When Belle gets trapped around teammates' stack, there's a cool scene where Needle uses saw to cut through. And I love the final part where you think Teardrop lost because she has no blocks, but it turns out that the teammate's part of the stack landed there. That's really funny. The strongest team on Earth is up for elimination. Also, I wonder what this means. Top of the list.
Look, that has nothing to do with me. I'm just stealing these blocks from you, okay?
Oh, okay. Wait a minute.
You shouldn't do that either!
I guess you're right.
So, there goes TPOT's quality. This was the first episode directed by the new showrunner Samuel Thornberry. It was his first episode, so I'll cut him some slack, but some of the main issues in this episode were the fact that some lines were really unneeded. I'm gonna refer back to this image made by Graham Apple. This example is definitely a hyperbole, but it really explains how some lines don't need to be said, and how it's better to show, not tell. Also, some parts feel really rushed, like Just Not's judging and the winner and clock thing. I suppose I should start with the beginning. In the strongest team on Earth's elimination, 2 serves the contestants cheesecake covered in shards of glass. Everyone gets a piece except for Foldy, who is eliminated. The challenge is to use the blocks to make an attraction for 2's empty amusement park. Death Pact again decides to sit this one out so they can focus on preventing death. And this is where a problem with Death Pact again begins. You'll see next time, don't worry.
I suppose we can serve an apple or something.
Okay, where's the apple pin? YOYLECAKE gets lots of screen time because Puffball wants to prove herself by building a super cool roller coaster.
You'll go down as a legend forever for this, because you went above and beyond and didn't do the basic thing. That would have been mediocre.
Another unneeded line. The roller coaster turns out like this. Did you know that the challenge judging is over in 3 minutes? That means each team gets roughly 30 seconds to be judged, minus REOK, which got like a whole minute, so that's even less time for the other teams.
Puffball, can you push the lever to begin our trip?
I think you can see what I'm doing here. This winner and clock argument was over in 15 seconds. Basically, clock pushed winner to perform on the stage since they used to perform with loser, but winner wanted to stay anonymous. I think that this argument definitely needed more work. This whole episode in general also needed some more work. Like BFDIA 11, I think that this episode would be a lot better if there was 10 extra minutes added on, maybe another rewrite. And it was a teapot going for 2.5 years now. Jack and Jellyfree realized there was going to be a problem again because there's 40 contestants. So they didn't split the show like last time, they're just doing 2 teams up for elimination now. This time the S and teammates are up for elimination. I forgot that a racer destroyed teammates' restaurant and there was a 5-second Saw reaction. I don't know, this episode is a mess and a really big letdown from the previous 2 episodes. Bottom of the list, and in my opinion, the worst episode of Teapot. I like when you can tell which episodes Carrie writes because all of the characters suddenly gain like 50 IQ points.
What's happening?
Oh, Donut, it's simple. A gamma ray burst came from 2,763 light years away, got refracted by Rocky's vomit, went right through your mouth, and vaporized our funny plant. But you made it through unscathed.
This episode is definitely better than the last. Not by much, but I still like it. In the elimination, Cloudy and Saw are eliminated. This is the start of a trend where characters that are eliminated make this face. You'll see it a lot. I like the part where Saw was eliminated by exactly 8 votes.
But 2? Just curious, how many votes was I short of Donut by? Perhaps 8?
Yeah, actually, it's exactly 8. What is going on?
The challenge this time is to protect your flower, which is actually called the funny plant. Each team is sent to a different biome. My favorite is Teardrops, which is just the real world.
Warm, 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 you still stay toasty and healthy. Warm, 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 you.
We making it out of the tundra with this one. Also, Lightning did not deserve to get kicked out of his team. Actually, a lot of teams push members out. Puffball uses Lightning's teleport bracelet to take her and Ice Cube to Death Pact's biome. Puffball does an elaborate scheme. Either Ice Cube dies by replenishing the funny plant with water, or the funny plant dies to save Ice Cube. So Death Pact again does a smart thing. Save the funny plant, because if they didn't, then they would be up for elimination. Actually, no, they kill the funny plant to save Ice Cube. But isn't there like a recovery center? I don't know what the point of preventing death even is, because there's a recovery center. You know, they can be recovered. Don't worry, it gets even worse. So Death Pact again is up for elimination. As for the other team, Just Not's plant is in the desert, so they use some water from a cursed yellowface skeleton, reference to BFDIA 5. It ends up shattering the plant. So that means Just Not and Death Pact again are both up for elimination. 2's lines at the end are really funny.
Hooray! In one episode of Teapot, we managed to set a rainforest on fire and cause the complete extinction of a critically endangered species of funny plant. Aren't I managing Teapot so well? I'm managing it so well!
This episode's going below Teapot 1, but like, there's a very large gap, so it's more like above Teapot 3.
Just don't get underwater?
Yep, hopefully it'll work.
Did it work?
It did not.
It's actually been a while since I watched Teapot 5, so this will be a fun rewatch. Ice Cube got a new voice actor, which means we got lots of new Ice Cube voice lines. Also, how did I forget there's a new Cake at Steak song last time? It's really good and has really nice animation. Also, the intro here is really confusing because didn't 2 say last time that the funny planes went extinct? But whatever. Just Not's elimination is first, and the prize is ramen noodles. Remote is eliminated this time, and on Just Not, Naily is eliminated. See, there's the face again.
Well, Remote, I think you nailed it either way.
And I think you remoted it. Yeah, that pun doesn't really work for my name.
Well, I think you both two'd it. Doesn't work as well for my name either.
Also, there's these random plates that just so coincidentally fall into the ocean, so that's the challenge. Get the plates back.
My shoes are on the roof. Get them.
Teammates go to Yellowface's warehouse on the fastest train ever. Just Not defies gravity. Are You Okay has a cool fish submarine, but the strongest team on Earth steals it. And they take TV hostage. Also, the S's strategy is really funny. First, they try digging underground, and then they end up just killing Ice Cube repeatedly just to freeze the canal. And Death Pact again dances under the water. That's really funny. TV and Robot Flower team up to self-destruct the submarine to make their team lose, because the mechanical minds gotta stick together.
Ah! Help me! Help me! Help me!
Hello! You mind taking care of Puffball for us?
No worries. Bye, Mommy.
Help me! Help me! Help me!
Are You Okay loses because teammates stole their plate. Above Teapot 4.
Hello, teardrops.
Teapot 6 was shown at the BFDI and AM Insanity meetup last year, so as such, its humor is much more targeted towards the audience in the crowd, mainly young children. First off, 4 and X are back. They cook food at the hotel. Remember in BFB 28? In the strongest team on Earth's elimination, Eggy is eliminated. I'm so sorry, a person on YouTube. In Are You Okay, Fries is eliminated. I'm just glad it wasn't tennis ball. The challenge is to cook something up for 2 to eat. Just Not has a fun journey as they venture in the woods to find the dragon that was in the last episode. There's a narrator singing over the song, and they force the team to go in the dangerous path. It's actually really funny.
I think the choice is obvious. We'll take the calm side.
They decided the scarier path was the best way to go.
Please, no!
And then they went down the scary one. And then they went down the scary one.
And here we go with Death Pact again. They try to revive this fish for their fish roll, and they end up finding a time reversal ray in Golf Ball's factory. So they revive the fish, but it keeps trying to eat them, and it also eats 2, which causes their team to be up for elimination. But like, why not give the fish roll to 2 and then revive the fish? They literally told him not to eat the fish part. It makes no sense. Are You Okay ventures to find a yo-yo berry to give to 2. Golf Ball is actually such a jerk to Puffball.
Finally, something useful for you to do. Go now. You know what? Never mind. Good luck.
Also, about Puffball, her voice sounds really nice in this episode. I don't know what they did, but it sounds really good. The strongest team on Earth tries to get the lunch from 4 and X, but it's for customers only. So Snowball eats a yo-yo berry and reflects 4's powers. But 4 has other powers. We've seen that before, like the turning characters into shape. So if he knew this wasn't gonna work, why did he keep trying? Rocky screws up the S's cereal by vomiting in it. I thought we were done with that gag. Teammates decides to capture 2 by making him dinner, like he is the dinner. 2 loves this and gives them a perfect score. The S fed 2 vomit cereal, so they are up for elimination along with Death Pact again. This episode has a lot of issues, not as bad as Teapot 3, but it's going above that episode nonetheless.
No tricks. It's just actual vomit.
The era we just went through, Teapot 3 to 6, is what some people call the dark era of Teapot. Here is when the season starts to really pick up again. To start, Pen and Eraser are doing some parkour, when Eraser brags to Teardrop that she's not good enough, so Teardrop becomes a cloud and starts raining on everyone. But this causes Robot Flower to short circuit. In the elimination, for Death Pact again and the S, we'll do the S first. Clock is eliminated.
Bottle is safe with 3,190 votes.
You know how everyone, when they get eliminated, is in a really good mood? Like, bye guys, see you soon. Well, Clock really doesn't take this well, and he wants to fix things with Winner. So 2 offers Clock an opportunity, and we'll get to that in a second. On to Death Pact again. Unfortunately, one of my favorite characters, Lightning, is eliminated. Lightning goes absolutely insane, and calls Death Pact again out on them just preventing death instead of actually winning the challenge. He goes crazy and destroys 7 of the main attractions of Goiki: the hotel, the balance beam from BFDI, the Goiki Canal, the volcano from BFDI 22, the largest oven, the moon, and the roller coaster. Anyways, the opportunity that 2 offered Clock was to get to work with 4 and X in the hotel until he can figure things out with Winter. Each team is assigned a different attraction to fix. Death Pact again decides to destroy the oven to prevent death, but Fanny rightfully calls them out before they can do this, saying that death is the only reason they keep losing. Just Not has a cool strategy to trade with other teams to get the roller coaster piece they need. This is why Price Tag is my favorite. Actually no, it's Book 2. It's both of them.
You're metal now. We could prop you up on the roof, then hammer you down till you're stretched out over the roof.
That was really funny. Robot Flower has a breakthrough. She wants to be someone else. She wants basketball to recode her to be like the original Flower because nobody respects her. The S travels to Yellowface's ad dimension and become Goofy Scribbles. Puffball and Golf Ball are disqualified because they keep causing trouble for their team. It wasn't 2 who disqualified them, it was their own team. Puffball and Golf Ball are a great duo because they both are very mischievous. Also, I love how Fanny just has Pillow in her contacts, and she just leaves her team. Just Not trades with the strongest team on Earth, and Grassy ends up ripping the wiring out of the entire hotel, which leaves Robot Flower only partially downloaded. Unfortunately, Robot Flower turns into Season 1 Flower because that's the only season that downloaded. So now she's just like the old Flower, mean, evil, and a bully.
Glue, we need some. You got any?
Kind of in a crisis, Eraser! The power flickering is frying my machines! I'm worried I messed up Robot Flower's circuitry!
Got glue.
Did you not hear me, Eraser? If I can't fix this machine, we might have lost Robot Flower forever!
Glue.
Puffball and Golfball decide to sabotage Just Not by giving them a faulty roller coaster piece. Pillow and Fanny kill Tree. Actually, Black Hole kills Tree accidentally, but Just Not trades Tree's dead body for the oven piece that Death Pact again needs, causing them to win.
We love dead bodies!
Looks like Death really did work in the end. Also, Snowball causes all of the debuters to escape, and Robot Flower kills PDA. Rest in peace, we love you. Teammates kills Donut. That was very blunt, but it happens. Also, I love the stupid moon repair kit. And Just Not roller coaster explodes.
Something tells me this will be fixed for years to come!
So Just Not indirectly made every team win and their own team lose, and I think that's really funny. And the S is up for elimination because Yellowface didn't grab the moon repair kit, he grabbed the scribble thing.
Hey, Buck! Don't you think I look beautiful?
Also, X for their plot, they leave the exit and find a whole world inside of 4. Let's see where this goes. This episode is great. It's not the best, but it's definitely awesome. Below Teapot 1. The last time I watched Teapot 8 was when it came out. So I'm basically watching it for the first time again because I don't remember anything other than Cake and Rocky are eliminated.
No! I want my
We are never letting Donut start the intro ever again. Here's some more perfectly cut bottle.
Grassy! Lovely to see you!
Also, Rocky, right before he's eliminated, vomits into the volcano. Hopefully that won't cause any future problems. Also, Teapot 8 reuses BFDI 1's challenge, so I guess 2 has finally run out of ideas. That was a joke. Also, Tree isn't able to compete in the last few episodes because he is now in the Goiki Canal growing. Also, I like how Barf Bag is able to change depending on what liquid is inside of her. It reminds me a bit of Kirby. Actually, we'll see this potential used a lot more in Teapot 10.
Time for the heroic meat of the tape to be thrown across this balance beam.
Why did he mimic her? Oh no, Pin is gone. Wait, what the hell? Fire Reaping wins again! Also, Donut lost his arms because Yellowface made him swallow the gumball. I love Snowball and Grassy's team up in recent episodes. They work together really nicely. It's like team up you wouldn't expect. Also, I like how everyone helps to care for Teardrop when she's sick, even though if she were to lose, then she would be instantly eliminated. Also, Fanny's mouth can just come off. I guess every body part can be removed now. Death Pact again is up for elimination because teammates knocked Fanny off. Also, damn this scene with Winner.
Winner, gotta talk to you. So, in the kitchen, Clock...
You didn't ask me.
What?
I don't want to have to deal with him anymore. He treated me differently just because I used to be famous. And so are you, by the way. No one else has gotten special treatment from you. I just want to be treated like everyone else.
Oh, I didn't think...
I know.
No, Winner!
I'm off to recover everyone. Don't follow me, please.
Okay.
That was a really well done scene. Also, Gadian 2's couch has been redesigned. It looks very nice.
Winter got around to reviving us, and we revived Robot Flower, hoping she'd be back to normal.
And?
Also, Nika was really funny in this episode, especially this part.
See you next time.
Even though Eraser could have ended his feud with Teardrop right here and just eliminated her, he didn't. He saw she was sick and he helped her. Too bad that Teardrop got the last laugh. Or didn't, because she can't talk. Are You Okay is the second and final team up for elimination. Honestly, this episode is... Wait. Oh no. Wait. No. Death Pact again isn't up for elimination because Fanny's mouth is still on the beam. So instead, the second team up for elimination is Teammates because Price Tag kicked Donut off. Honestly, this episode is a lot better than I remembered. I was originally gonna put it in B tier, but I think I'm gonna move it to high A. It was very enjoyable.
Have you ever wanted to be glued down? Then don't buy Yellowface Incorporated glue. We tested our glue with people on skyscrapers, stuck to the inside of volcanoes. We even stuck them to clouds, but every participant fell immediately and died. We even held a funeral for the customers and sent their coffins sailing into the sky with balloons, but the balloons unstuck because, again, we used our glue.
So this video is about 2 hours now, and you can tell that the reviews have gotten longer because I keep telling you the entire episode. By the time we are at right now in the season review, we would have been done with Pre-Split. It might also be because the episodes are longer. Instead of 9 minutes, they're 29 minutes. Anyways, we start where Teapot 8 left off, with Barfbag having no liquid inside of her, so they have two options. 1, kill Barfbag and recover her, but that would make Black Hole upset because they are killing her. Or 2, use Rocky's Lava Barf instead. They go with option 2, but it turns Barfbag into a zombie, and she starts biting people, turning them into zombies too. So they all run into the hotel, and that's where we have the elimination. And Puffball is the one eliminated from Are You Okay? With a crazy vote difference. In Teammates, it's still pretty close with Corny getting the boot. Honestly, expecting Needle to get out.
But they'll probably be back. Please let me in, please.
So, who wants to open that door?
In Teammates, it's still pretty close with Corny getting the boot. I honestly was expecting Needle to get out. With Barfbag eating, or I guess biting all the debuters, it's a whole zombie apocalypse, so that's the challenge. Simply survive. Except Just Not has really high ping, so Pillow misunderstands and thinks that the challenge is to kill all of your team members. The two teams who have the least members are up for elimination. Again, for a very simple challenge, it is so great. I loved this episode when it came out, and I'm happy to say that I still do. There isn't many jokes, but it makes up for it just by being a fantastic story, with some actual kinda creepy parts. When 2 is infected, it's pretty much over for everyone.
Kitchen bonding retreat, be back soon? What?
Also, we got lots more world building with the hotel this episode, with there being a basement and a sewer system which connects to Gelatin's steakhouse. Yellowface reveals that he's been hiding Cloudy's collection ever since he got eliminated, so they decide to hide in it to pass the time. Also, look at Tree now, he's huge. I absolutely love the Just Not plot where Pillow just kills everyone. It's actually kind of scary at times.
Bommy? Nickel? Any of you safe? Pillow's dead.
Good work, Price Tag! Pillow's a tough foe. Good job on...
It turns out that the zombies are attracted to the stakes, so the S uses that opportunity. Meanwhile, Snowball turns very big, and he tries to take down the strongest team on Earth.
Oh, phew. See, I knew they couldn't do anything.
And, oh my god, the Gadian 2 scene was probably the creepiest part of this episode.
2? Over here. 2? Are you okay? 2. I'm a little freaked out. Inside. 2. I know you're not you right now, but... Come on. 2. You there? 2? Is that... Are you okay? 2. Are you okay? Wait, 2, don't!
Are You Okay finds out that when Teardrop goes into Barfbag, she turns back to normal. This is the antidote, but there isn't enough, so Teardrop has to sacrifice herself to save everyone else. It turns out that when 2 gets people, they don't turn into zombies, they just go into the elimination area. I hope we get to see this area explored more in the future. Pin decides to use Zombie Corny to escape underground by smashing him up against the ceiling. and the S pours the antidote onto the stakes to turn everyone back to normal. In the end, the two teams up for elimination are Just Not and Teardrop, but Teardrop is the only member on their team, so that means Teardrop is officially eliminated. But Just Not still lost, so the voting is only up to them. Also, it seems like every odd-numbered episode has an exiter plot now. This time, the group splits up to find a way to get out of 4. Lai, Match, and Stapy go to the waterfall. Pencil, Bracelety, and David go back to the classrooms, and Fiery Jr., 8-Ball, and Dora go into the forest. This potential is really explored in TPOT 11, which is solely an exiter episode. Overall, TPOT 9 is still one of my favorite episodes of the entire show. It's on the same level as BFB 13 and even 14 for me. It's a really well done story, and although lacking in humor, it makes up for it just by being very entertaining. Going under TPOT 1.
Hey guys!
I like TPOT 10 because it has lots of hidden ones. Try to spot them as you watch this review. So Just Not's elimination happens and Nickel is eliminated.
It's Pillow's fault! Guys, get her out, or else you're all doomed! Get her out!
Awkward. This is why we love you, Pillow. The challenge is to go inside one team member's nightmare and try to wake them up. Once again, this episode is super entertaining. We're gonna go through each team's nightmare, starting with Death Pact again. It's Black Hole's nightmare, and his nightmare is, well, death. Black Hole begins sucking up everything. Contestants, hosts, the entire world. There are some nice callbacks to previous episodes, and also this shot goes so hard.
Mercury? All the way out here? Black Hole's real nightmare might be his education.
When the world goes white, Fanny and Black Hole talk about Death Pact and what went wrong. They both have opposing views, but Fanny reminds him that he's too focused on death instead of life. Both of them agree, and Black Hole wakes up. Fanny goes to chop Tree down to recover him. The next dream is Just Not's, where it is Book's nightmare. Her nightmare is being stuck in the Jawbreaker, just like Taco. I love how they replicated the old BFB style. Unfortunately, they can't wake Book up in time, so they are the first team up for elimination. Apparently, her real nightmare is being forgotten. Price Tag goes to talk with Book, and even though they don't really know Book that well, they talk about the great times they had with her. And Book really wants to get to know Price Tag, so they suggest for her to think of things that they would like and they can appear in her dream. So now Price Tag and Book are best friends. I'm so happy my two favorite characters are gonna appear more often now. Are You Okay as Pen's nightmare, and his biggest fear is being in debt. So the team tries to make more money for Pen by doing car mechanic work, working at nightclubs and movie theaters. When they only manage to scrape up a measly $800,000, they decide for a simpler method. Kill Pen, because then he would wake up. So they try a bunch of stuff to kill Pen, but it ends up killing them instead until Pen gets eaten by a fish. This wakes him up, and Are You Okay is safe. Next up is the S, and Winner's nightmare is confronting Loser again. But Winner tells the story of how everything really went down. Winner wasn't forgotten, they were excluded. Because Loser and Winner were once a famous pair, Loser wanted to expand the YOYLECAKE brand with plushies and food and all sorts of merchandise. When Winner didn't want to sign a contract with Loser for a movie, Loser took his brand elsewhere and left Winner in the dust. Also, Clock was pushed into the dream by 4, so Winner has to interact with Clock again. Clock explains to Winner how he was forgotten too. Remember BFB 10 to 15? How Clock was nowhere to be seen? No one bothered to recover Clock, and Clock was just trying to make sure Winner was remembered, so they wouldn't be forgotten too. Also, screw Yellowface. Throughout this entire dream, it was just super annoying. I hate how he's become in recent episodes. Next time the S is up for elimination, he better be gone. Anyways, Clock and Winner make amends, and Clock is officially eliminated.
No, Clock was our friend! That's it! You're all gonna pay!
The next dream is Teammates. It's Barfbag's nightmare and how she fears that other people are scared of her because she basically started the whole outbreak, but it wasn't really her fault, it was Black Hole's. The members of the team try to pour liquids into her to see how she changes. They have to wake her up though, so they try a bunch of liquids until she pushes Robot Flower off a cliff, and when she's falling, she wakes up. Her team dies though, but they're still safe nonetheless. And lastly, the strongest team on Earth has Robot Flower, but she doesn't have a brain, so she can't really have nightmares. Nevertheless, Robot Flower tries to kill her team also, because I love his evil, goofy remember? run here. So the strongest team on Earth's only solution is to kill Robot Flower. Except two do that, and their team is up for elimination. So they gotta break out. In short,
they bust a window open,
is fantastic.
and that's where
where it ends. It's a great episode. Although it's short, storytelling, great character development, exciting, and it's overall a super enjoyable experience. I'm putting it above Teapot 9. It's a very fitting end to Teapot because the next one doesn't really have much Teapot. It's more just Exiters. Wait, we have one more left. Let's do this. And we end the season, for now, with Teapot 11. And it is solely an Exeter-based episode, so there's not much Teapot to talk about. When this episode released, it was actually very polarizing. Some people said it's the best, some people just said it's okay, and some said it was the absolute worst. Me personally, I still really enjoyed Teapot 11. It's another non-competition based episode, similar to IDFB 1, but I think this episode improves on IDFB 1 a lot. I wouldn't call this episode better than IDFB 1, there's some issues, but it's a really fun adventure. Each group gets focused on a lot. My favorite is probably Pencil, David, and Bracelety. The exit as a whole gets so much more world building, I love it.
I mean, how many classrooms can there be?
Let me count! 1, 2!
Shut it.
Lion Match and Stapy is fun too. Lion's actually pretty funny in this episode.
You did not just, do that.
Like, I might try it again.
Also, they took 8 months to get back to the top because Stapy knocked Match off. The actual castle they go to is super cool too. Love the backgrounds. They all get dripped out with armor, and they have a battle with 4 on their trusty steeds, being Stapy and the 4-horse. I love the 4-horse. 4 takes on a more antagonistic role this time, but it was kind of a jarring shift being after BFB 30 and all. But I guess 4 has always had a grudge on these guys. The Exeters realized after 4 years that they should probably try to stack up to 4's mouth again. Fiery Jr., 8-Ball, and Dora find an abandoned shipwreck, but 4 becomes an octopus, so they go down with the ship. Pencil and Bracelety distract 4 with classes like swimming and cooking.
What was that?
Food fight!
Also, once again, there's hidden ones. Try to spot them, they're kinda hard to see. I didn't even catch any my first time watching. All the Exeters make it back with stuff for the stack, and Roboti kills 4. Rest in peace, 4. Born 2008, died 2024. Let's recap our favorite 4 memories. Oh wait, he didn't die. Also, I love his goofy run here. So the Exeters actually escape, except 2 traps them hostage again in the kitchen, so they gotta break out. They bust a window open, and that's where it ends. Although it's short, Teapot 11 manages to be a fun and exciting adventure, going above Teapot 8. And that's the end of Season 5. Overall, it's probably the best season so far, if you exclude Season 3, which is just 1 episode. Even the worst episodes of the season are still on par with pretty decent episodes from Season 4. The best of the season managed to be way better than usual, and it's a great way to leave off this video. And with that being said, I have officially reviewed every episode of Battle for Dream Island, from Season 1 to Season 5. I'll talk more about the actual show later, but let's get to what we're here for, the final ranking. Few things before we start. 1, in future ranking videos, I'll try to explain the episodes quicker than this time, because I feel like I just pretty much explained everything that happens in the episode for you guys, when you really should go watch the episodes for yourself. I think that if I had a chance to rewrite some of the later BFB or Teapot ones, then I would have done it. And 2, you're gonna see that the episodes are separated into tiers, and that's because I've actually been watching and putting them on a tier list. You'll see the final tier list at the end, don't worry. I guess now it's time for me to rank every episode of Battle for Dream Island from worst to best. We're gonna start with F tier, which only has 1 episode, and that's 83, X marks the spot. On to D tier, we have 82, How Low Can You Grow? 81, The Twisted Temple. 80, Take the Tower. 79, Puzzling Mysteries. 78, Bridge Crossing. 77, The Escape from 4. 76, Take the Plunge, Part 2. 75, Take the Plunge, Part 1. And 74, Are You Smarter Than a Snowball? C tier. 73, A Taste of Space. 72, Barriers and Pitfalls. 71, Cycle of Life. 70, Insectophobe's Nightmare 2. 69, Fortunate Ben. 68, Return of the Hang Glider. 67, Yahoo! I wanna know. 66, Lick Your Way to Freedom. 65, A Leg Up in the Race. 64, Insectophobe Nightmare 3. B tier we have 63, The Lottery Ball You Don't Want. 62, Sweet Tooth. 61, Getting Puffball to Think About Roller Coasters. 60, No More Snow. 59, Why Would You Do This on a Swing Set? 58, It's a Monster. 57, Lofty. 56, Don't Lose Your Marbles. 55, Let's Raid the Warehouse. 54, 4 Goes Too Far. 53, This episode is about basketball. 52, Uprooting Everything. 51, Get Digging. 50, The Great Goiken Bake Off. 49, Reveal Novum. 48, Gardening Zero. 47, Lots of Mud. 46, Meaty. 45, Intruder Alert. 45, Insectophobe's Nightmare. 43, Crybaby. Halfway done, on to A tier. 42, Fishes and Dishes. 41, Rescission. 40, The Long Lost Oil City. 39, BFB equals Back from Beginning. 38, The Glistening. 37, Power of 3. 36, The Hidden Contestant. 35, Get in the Van. 34, Questions Answered. 33, Enter the Exit. 32, Bowling, now with explosions. 31, Fashion for Your Face. 30, Hurtful. 29, Ziki Boogie Doog. 28, Catch These Hands. 27, Insectophobe's Nightmare 4. 26, The Reveal. 25, Taste the Sweetness. 24, Balancing Pact. 23, SOS, Save Our Show. 22, The Game Has Changed. 21, Who Stole Donut's Diary? S tier, 20, Chapter Complete. 19, Out of the Blue. 18, Don't Pierce My Flesh. 17, Half a Loaf is Better Than None. 16, Gardening Hero. 15, Vomitaco. 14, The 7 Wonders of Goiki. 13, Today's Very Special Episode. 12, Getting Teardrop to Talk. 11, Get to the Top in 500 Steps. 10, The 4 is Lava. And finally, S+. 9, Welcome Back. 8, Well Rested. 7, What do you think of roleplay? 6, Return of the Rocket Ship. 5, Outbreak at Stake. 4, Wonderophobe's Nightmare. 3, Don't Dick Straight Down. 2, You Know Those Buttons Don't Do Anything Right. And 1, The Worst Day of Black Hole's Life. So I was gonna make a whole speech at the end of this video of how Battle for Dream Island jump-started the whole Object Show community, but I've been working on this video for 5 months, and I've spent the past week finishing TPOT and Post-Split, so I really don't feel like working on this video anymore, and I won't touch it ever again. Special thanks to Multics for basically helping with jokes and supporting me throughout the entirety of this project. We watched all of the episodes together. Dasher for opinions on BFB 30 and 16. Cyphus 6 and Radio, they didn't help on the video, but they're just great friends. Cobalt.tools, not sponsored, but it helped me get everything I needed for the video, like all the episodes and music and sound effects, so thank you. And Jack and Jelf if you're making Battle for Dream Island. Okay, that's it, I'm done, goodbye.